adjourned in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. The notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are listed in the annual agenda. Copies of all are sent to the Record Suburbanite, Northern Valley Press, and are posted in the meeting resolution in the lobby of the Municipal Center. The notice of this special budget meeting, Resolution 19-52, has been sent to the Record Suburbanite and Northern Valley News and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center and the Borough website. There doesn't seem to be any public, so we'll move right on to the first department tonight. That's Planning Board, and we have with us tonight our Planning Board Chair, Mary Beth Wilmot. Welcome.
Thank you. You guys all have our budget request in front of you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We're gonna go through all of them.
So I didn't get it, of course.
Let's start with you have 4 people going through the events.
Okay, I'm just saying, this is the budget that I have, so I'm not sure I have the exact same documents in front of me, so if you wanna tell
Oh,
me
it's
what.
okay, you should be
Okay,
able
that's
to, yeah.
Okay,
You, because they are related to this one.
Okay.
You want basically, you want to have your group attend 4 different events during the year.
again, it's not that we want to have our group attend, it's not our group, it's gonna be Valerie.
Yeah,
Again,
but it's-
there's, COA has a lot of requirements, again, I'm not
Okay.
sure exactly which one she's put in there, but I have no doubt Valerie's not going to, these events
For fun.
for fun.
No, I want to
But
just,
so, again, a number, I'm gonna guess that most of these, again, I don't know exactly what they are, I'm sure I can get the information from Valerie. But, again, COA has a lot of requirements and has a lot of things that Valerie needs to stay on top of as our COA.
And also, one of them is attended by a Tenafly.
That's Christine.
That's
Christine.
Christine,
She's your
Yeah.
deputy.
she's the deputy.
Okay. All right. Now, do you have those sheets in front of you?
Yeah.
Where are you, Max? Just so I can
There's
follow.
a page,
We just, I just turned the page.
there's a page number on top next. Just refer to the page number.
That's why I was asking if she has them.
I don't have the one with redactions.
No, that's why I was asking,
You can
see.
use mine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have, because one of the things we need to, okay, just to, stipend is Valerie, correct?
Mhm, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then legal services 25,000. Who is that? Is Zen?
That Jeff Zen, yes.
Okay, so Zen. So we were correct. Okay, now the next thing here, yeah,
Page 27.
the next one, 27.
Okay,
Engineering fees.
yep,
Historically, you never got to the 3,000 number. You were 1650 in 2017. You were at 710 in 2018. Is there something different that is going to be?
the thing is, we never know year to year, again, like, depending on what we're doing, what we're looking at, and any given year, something can come up that we need to have budgeted for potential, and the same way with legal fees, again, it's not that,
We understand that, but it's we have 2 years history.
Uh-huh.
Is it something that you think is going to be different?
So I have to ask a question.
sure.
Can you predict how many applications you're gonna have in 2019?
I cannot predict how many applications I'm gonna
That's
have
it.
year to
Okay.
date.
So they're transactional?
Yeah.
And so let's say last year, in 2017, she had 8
Yeah.
and last year she had 4, and this year she has 12. There's no way.
That's why we want to put something that's reasonable, that we, you know, like, she had 1650 and 710, we're thinking to move up to 2,000, rather than the 3,000 that is
Well,
right now.
let's look at the consequences of either doing it or not doing it. Susan,
Yes.
if we put $3,000 in there like we did this in 2018, we only use less than 1,000, where does the remaining money go?
It regenerates surplus.
Okay,
It's
we
surplus.
generate surplus, which makes our job where we wanna, with surplus easier the next year, correct?
2 years from then, yes. it's a
2 years,
two-year
but
rate.
right now it's a question is, do we?
I'm not finished.
Yeah,
The
okay,
other, the other question is, if we budget less and then we run out of money, where does that, what does that do?
The borough would have to do an emergency note, and that would have to be sent to the state for approval.
So-
This is,
I'm
it's,
just telling you the fact.
yeah, no,
facts
it's
now.
immaterial, everything, we can
Nothing
put
in-
10,000,
what do you
we
mean
can
it's
put
immaterial?
10,000 here, just for everything to make sure that we
But
never.
nobody's suggesting 10,000.
But that's why we're trying to do something that's reasonable.
But
We
you
look
know,
at the
I just-
expenses
can I just say
over
whether
2
it-
years and trying to find something
So-
that's
Wait till
reasonable.
it comes up for air.
Okay, See, it's good to have a little bit extra than not, because
Yeah.
if you skim this budget too tight, when another department runs out of money, which happens, and that's why I do budget transfers in November, December,
Yeah.
January, February, March, I don't even know where I would take it from.
We wanna do that, but we wanna see, would 2,000 be okay versus 3,000?
But 2,000, you're cutting it in our budget because we've come close to using 2,000 the last 2 years. So if you put it to 2,000 and then I have additional transactions, which I cannot tell you how many applications we'll have this year, and then we go over, then we're gonna be scrambling for money. I'm relying on Valerie, who's has a long history of doing these budgets for us, and again, she has stated to me that engineering feels 3,000 put in the budget, this amount should remain. She feels
Lauren,
very
and then
strong
Jeff,
about
please.
that.
So David Halls, this is, our engineer, is he done per application, does he have a set fee per application, like
No.
$25 application,
No.
or depending on the complexity?
Depending on the complexity of the application, correct. And how many hours he spent,
Jeff,
just like an attorney, he bills by the hour.
And then more.
Right, so then the planning board works differently than the Board of Adjustments in that respect, because I remember with the Board of Adjustments, the applicant actually gets paid.
Generally, they do, unless we as the borough are asking him to do something specific that the borough is looking into.
So what
Say,
would be an example?
historic preservation, if we're looking at, asking him to look at like the new historic preservation element, if we get to open space, David will
Sorry,
absolutely
sorry.
be involved with that. So again, so anything that we do, yes, the applicant generally does it, but again, if there's something outside the scope or we ask him to look at something additional for the borough, all of that is additional.
So
And
like,
again,
if we had a big applicant like there's been talk about the Clinton, if there was an applicant like that, they would generally for that be paying this.
correct.
Because that would be within the scope of what they pay, right?
Correct, but like I said, it depends, but year to year, we the borough generally have something that comes up that is outside the scope of an application, but again, is something we're asked to look at within the general scope, or coming to say a joint meeting of the, planning board and board of adjustment, that would be additional fees and additional things
The
that.
Board of Adjustment pay.
Mark, you had a question?
Same engineer.
So Jeff, just to follow up on
Yeah.
you just said, so this year we have potentially the Clinton Inn, big question mark.
Which, the Clinton Inn,
The
the
Clinton,
applicant would.
notwithstanding the comments that you guys just agreed on, we've got the Valero gas station that wants to become their whole thing over there that we just agreed to
Rehabilitation.
develop as an agreement on.
Right.
We've got the potential of the Triangle happening this year, those owners are making noises, so Max, I mean, there's a fair amount of stuff going on.
Okay,
that-
if you guys think that,
But again,
Yeah.
in those three cases, the applicant would be.
the applicant will pay for
Right,
it, so
but
none of
there's-
those,
my point is only about, this year happens to have a lot of variables,
Yeah.
more so than last year.
those
That's-
people pay for the.
They
the
pay
appli-
for it,
them, so
but if
I'm-
we have
I
a
don't
year of
think
a
it's
lot of
gonna be-
variables, you'll eat up to $3,000 in no time.
Yeah.
And the effort to move it back again, do we really wanna have this conversation twice?
See, there is the logic behind the madness. Now you brought up the logic behind the madness. So once you do that, then we can have a
reasonable conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
we're
rather
along with
than
that one.
rather than our secretary thinks that how much of it. Okay.
Agreed,
Lauren,
agreed.
you had your hand up
Agreed.
again?
The only thing I had a follow-up question is, we're looking at a historical element, I know we just gave the HPC a little additional money for legal and engineering, or just legal?
Just legal.
Just legal.
Just legal.
That was my follow-up, okay.
Just like.
So what do you wanna do about this, folks?
We'll keep it at 3.
Okay, let's move on. What's the next?
There is more.
I wanna ask
Planning,
about Burgess.
planning services.
Yeah. Okay.
We did to the co-op.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much, co-op's behind us.
Pretty much, yeah, but COA is paid out of development fees, that's not even part of what we do.
Okay,
So that's not part of this.
it's not part of it. You have $1,800 and $281,000 in this planning services in the past.
281,000.
Well, in
No, no,
in
$281.
2017 is
Oh,
the actual.
yeah.
Actuals.
Well,
Actuals.
because last year we budgeted to do the historic preservation element, but because
Yeah.
of our busy schedule, we didn't get to it. So we're basically rolling over and saying, and this is the number that Burgess gave to us to update our historic preservation element for the master plan.
And should we want,
And-
should
and
we get to open space?
And should we get to open space after we do historic preservation element, we will need additional,
You
Planning
should
board.
know that the council voted that open space is the highest priority.
okay.
That's,
That doesn't have anything to do with the plan.
No, we've had a conversation, Peter, if you can allow us to come with, basically because we discussed what the new elements are gonna be put. We just wanted her to know what is for us the highest
Okay.
Well,
priority.
yeah, I mean, and just something you should be aware, I mean, it just because you guys brought it up. COA is not even finalized yet. I would strongly recommend, and we've been given advice, to not begin working in open space until COA is finalized.
Yes, we understand that.
Okay.
But basically, COA, the only thing that is remaining is basically an approval process.
Yes, but until the approval, until all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed,
Yeah,
it still
when
is
do you
not final.
expect that to happen?
And you guys have got, I guess you had something on your agenda with respect to development fees that was introduced last meeting and then is gonna be adopted on March 12th, correct? And then published on March 15th, and after that, then notification will be sent to Ed Buzek, who's our co-attorney.
Yep.
At that point, Ed can then go forward to the judge of the court, the special master.
To respond and say, okay, so by May, we should be done by then.
That's the hope.
Okay.
But I would have hoped we would be done by now, so.
Okay, so now here,
We'll be
those
done
are,
when we're done, yeah.
do you have any idea how many hours you expect, because we had
It-
9,000 projected all last year and 9,000 projected this year.
But again, it's because that's the budget that he gave us to update our historic preservation element of the master plan.
Who was he?
Joe Burgess.
Joe Burgess.
Okay.
So
He
that's.
told you 9,000.
He told us 9,000, I can't break it down in hours, that's what he
Okay,
told us
but-
to expect that the cost would be. And we didn't get to it last year, so we didn't spend any of that money, which is why we're moving it over to this year, because this year it's high on the planning board's agenda, it is our next item to be dealt with.
I don't think,
We as council need to discuss which item we want the planning board to.
to work first, yeah.
Well, the planning board's, we set our
Your own agendas.
Our own agendas.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
With our advice of council and advice of our planner, so we'll be, that's what we'll be, again, so.
There are nothing-
We're happy to hear the reasoning behind your views, but at this point in time, we can't even begin to take it up until COA is finalized.
Yeah,
and-
the reason
and we need
behind
to
it
get-
is because that's something that can happen very shortly, and we need to be prepared.
Yeah, I know what the property that you're talking about, but again, updating the master plan, the property's already in the open space element currently in the master plan, it's dealt with in there. Again, we certainly need to look at it and update, 'cause things
Yeah.
have changed, but the historic preservation element, we know that properties have been added and things need to be updated, so that is a priority for the planning board at this point in time. So again, we had planned to do it last year, again, we didn't get to it based on our schedule, but we're gonna get to that this year.
Anything else, Max?
No, that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you very much for this, your, not to do that, that's all of it. Thank you.
And next we have the Nature Center, and Peter Ponzi, the director of the Nature Center, is here.
Oh,
We have TNC under the admin.
The admin, right, that's where the money comes from.
Oh, no. Thank you for your time, Mary Beth.
Thank you, guys.
See you later, Mary Beth.
Long.
Take care, everybody.
All right, that's someone told me where.
where is it down there? I mean,
Admin, it's
what
towards the
page?
front, towards the front, admin.
Yeah, but which one is this? Here, this is
Lizette,
one. If anyone has a page number, yell it out.
Why?
It is 105.
After what?
Which page?
In what section?
105.
After mental health, after
25.
historical.
105 here.
Nature Center.
I'll pass this around.
Administration.
Did you bring like a candy bar or something for everybody? Just a candy bar?
There's a promissory note in it. Candy bar.
105 is what, yeah?
Maple circles.
So
That's right.
I heard there's finally a final drawing for the gate.
Finance it.
Apparently so, yes.
Apparently so. But
So-
have you seen it yet?
I haven't
Maybe
personally seen
105
it,
is
but
before.
but I,
So this is just rumor.
well, Andrew told me, I haven't had a chance to.
No.
Has he amended
I
it?
think Andrew said it was.
There's an amendment
Andrew
on
said it
another
was
sheet of
separate.
paper, so. It was separate, it wasn't on the original.
Andrew said he was happy.
Getting the
It's a few pages
I know, I did too. I'm sorry.
But last minute as well.
9, 1, 2.
You get
That's
Yeah,
it,
that's what I
that's
thought. I
it.
You
said
said
it wasn't
105?
getting
Yeah,
ordered.
105.
But it's in the middle, it's not.
It's not after one oh
It's
four.
not
getting ordered.
sequential in
You know,
it.
when it's ordered,
Silly me, I was looking
Yeah,
for
it is.
I think it
I
makes
took
sense.
It's on order.
it's
It's,
on order.
I mean, they
The order is
requested
ready.
it, so I'm assuming it's.
It is on order, but we don't know what kind of order.
It's in the middle, 105.
That's okay, okay, what, oh, this is the nature center.
Okay, Nature Center. Any questions?
No, the manufacturer has.
That's the list of our,
I want like a,
there was 35,000 proposed, 35,000, I don't think there is a.
No. Oh, it still says 35 on there?
Yes, because once the books were printed, I got them afterwards.
Oh, I
After
said-
print. Your request, I received it after we printed.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I'm actually requesting 40. And there's
so what's that?
some justification on here. So basically what I did was looked at the earliest recorded, the original amount was 6,000, which if you look at it, inflation adjusted would be 42. On the back, the next page, you can kind of see how I did that. So basically, inflation adjusted, we the original value. So I know you
want a cost of living increase?
pretty much. Well, I couldn't think any way. You know, if you look at the sheet on the second page, and you kind of look at how the money's kind of gone up and gone down. In 2009 it went down, and then we got it back up in 2016.
So we should get money back
It's
for the
been-
2006 and
Well,
2007.
let me ask you a question, Peter. From
No,
a
I know
financial
it's-
perspective,
Yeah.
without giving away any state secrets,
Right.
what shape is the Nature Center in? Would you say in the last year or two, the volume of volunteers, the volume of membership has gone up, gone down, and as well as contributions?
It's fairly steady.
It's fairly steady?
Yeah.
Not adjusted for inflation then?
You can't adjust people's desire to donate based on inflation.
No, but I'm saying it's relatively flat, is what you're saying. Steady,
It's
flat.
it's grown since I've gotten here, but within the last 2 years, it's been about the same. So since I arrived, it's grown.
Okay.
But I'd say since last year, it's
And the number of
running.
classes that you run?
Going up.
Sure.
Yep.
Lauren, please?
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm very excited to attend the Nature's Dinner
Mhm.
coming up, so that's wonderful. What is that money raised at the dinner, what is that planned for this year?
It's all, well, the just like this money, it's all general operating support,
Okay.
except for the special. We usually do, like the last 2 years, we've done a special fundraiser. That's for a capital project. So this year will be the aviaries.
That's the last page,
Yep,
the bird
yep,
aviary.
yeah.
Last year was
Last year was the trail.
Trail.
Yep, yeah. So that's like a special fundraiser that we do.
Okay.
What connection, if any, do you have with our school system, the public school system?
So if you look here, the ways positive impacts, you can see last year, the public schools, last year Tenafly public school students participated in 2,943.15 contact hours of instruction from our highly qualified instructors. We all offer programming at half the actual cost, and basically it's because of operational support. So the annual dinner, donations, memberships, those all offset. So if we were to charge market price, if we were a for-profit, we'd have to charge twice as much for our programs. than we do.
Of the students that participate, off the top of your head, if you don't have the exact number,
Mhm.
what percentage of them are in the high school?
The smaller percentage.
Smaller
So the majority, and we're working on, so basically what we've been doing is we've been working on curriculum changes to match STEM and all the New Jersey science standards. But because the majority of our programming is to primary school, we started there. Now we're working towards secondary. One of the things you'll see on page, fourth page on the bottom where it says TNC bringing scientific inquiry to global classrooms. We're working on, it's called Fitbit the Forest. So Fitbit is kind of like something tells you how your body's doing. We're working with Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory to install dendrometers, and they already have a network of dendrometers in other locations.
Dendrometer?
So dendrometer measures the caliper of a tree. So this is actually one that gets installed on the side of the tree that sends information through Wi-Fi to every 20 minutes. So it aggregates data within the 20 minutes, takes the average and sends it out. So then there's this chart of information for trees in different locations. So and then you have a weather station, and then you can do scientific inquiry with classrooms. So we're developing curriculum. So that's where I think we're going to start expanding more of the programming for the middle school and high school.
Do you get any support from Lamont, or do they ever make any donations?
Not donation, no.
Okay. How about your relationship with the public schools? And I know some of the answers, but I want
Yep.
everybody to know the programs that you run with the public schools, are they self-funding? Do they even donate? Does the school system make a donation?
They pay.
They just pay for the
Programming.
programming?
Similar to other school, and yeah.
And how about the county? Did they give you anything?
County does not give us
Have
that.
you, hey Dan, are there any grants available that might work, county grants for the?
Every time the ANJAC grant comes up, their requirements are tailored more to the nature center. So the environmental commission always defers to them. I believe you won it
Project
3 years ago, 2 years
Yeah.
ago for the trail survey.
For the master plan.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So that boosts or kickstarts their
And that's project
program,
based.
right? Project based.
Mark?
This year, I think you might have another project that qualifies. Maybe I forget the list this year.
Yeah, I'm about to work on that.
Okay, so you're aware of the
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Mark, did you have your hand up?
So I'm not sure I actually agree with what I'm about to throw out on the table, but just as a suggestion, if we don't wanna add 5,000 permanently to the budget on top of the 35, maybe we think about donating 5,000 to the Avery rebuild, taking it out of open space perhaps, as a one-time thing. And,
That
whether
might
that,
not
we
be
can
a-
do that or not, I don't know.
That might not be a bad idea.
Right.
That's a good
Yeah.
way of doing it, that's for
Yes,
sure.
maybe, but
This
it's
way
a
we don't
one-time
add to
shot.
the budget and it doesn't affect the taxes, it's already
Okay,
paid
that-
for.
No, that's a good idea because we don't wanna affect the tax.
Would
Right.
that be that
Can you
would
do
be
it legally?
Yeah,
Pardon me?
I guess Susan
I
would
think
be
so, I
eligible.
mean.
You don't think so?
No,
No,
I
she
would
thinks so.
she
That's
does.
a great
I mean,
idea.
No, I
thought-
think that's a very good
thought
idea.
about
So
it
we don't
all.
increase the budget.
Exactly.
One,
Right,
one,
that's a
o-
good idea.
one other question that I have. The weather, as we all are aware, has been so erratic. The storms, a lot of rain. Any impact on our nature center, on our land?
I think mainly what I've seen is on the main trail, and that's what we're, part of the main trail rehabilitation that we're doing this spring into summer will address that. So I've noticed a lot of erosion on the east side of the main trail since I've arrived, because I walk it every day, walking in to work. So that's what I've primarily noticed.
Well, the main trail goes east-west, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you said on the east side?
East side, yeah. No, it goes north, the Hudson side.
Right.
So that's
Okay.
it. So it goes north-south.
Okay,
And the east side is the side that is where the buildings are, where
Right.
where the residence is. And the west side is where the nature center is.
okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I think Mark's idea, everybody supports
Yeah.
Mark's idea?
Yeah, so it stays at 30, we're gonna make some.
Stays at
35.
Stays at
35.
35.
Plus the 5 out of open space.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, my children adore the owls and the hawk. We visit them all the time. We've had various birthday parties just for them alone.
So should we
they
throw
do
a couple
great job.
$100 in for the owl?
If you
Just
tell the
kidding.
wrong person, I'd say yes.
Jeff, please.
Obviously, you say yes to
While
that.
you're here,
I
I
would
know
say yes.
there's talk about the next phase of Fister's Pond. Do we have any idea? And the money was set aside from open space funds already, but any idea how much that's going to cost yet?
So the last time I was here, we made the request for having someone come, and it's not, they won't do it until
They're not gonna do it in the middle of the
and they'll do it in the
summer.
spring. Basically,
Yeah.
the air, it's like that air temperature, water temperature has to be above 100 before they'll go out and do any surveying. That's kind of what, hypothermia rules for them to go out. And so as soon as they do that, then we'll have a better sense.
Do you have to spend any money to have that done?
Yeah, and the last time I was here, we actually approved about, I think it was around $2,000 or something like that.
Okay.
And that was a part of the process, because it was actually the engineers who said, before you start talking about hydro rig and all these
Right,
things, you
right.
wanna have someone
Right, we have to
come out.
have a
And
conversation
part of it
about
is,
money.
I don't want you to think we're forgetting your request.
No,
But we
yeah.
are, on the capital side,
Sure.
we've been
Yeah.
pumping in
Mhm.
a lot more than 40,000,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I would-
And it's
And we
about
will
time,
con-
kinda, we
and we
know
will
where we are.
continue, I
Right.
mean, it's not, just,
No, I know, I
it's
understand.
there.
I just, go ahead, Mark.
No, did you mention Does everyone know the plans were finally approved for the dam? Everybody knows
For the
that?
gate.
Yeah, for the gate.
Right, for the gate.
Now we're going to the phase 2.
Well,
How
the
many fish
gate's
do we
still
have?
being
Dam,
wall,
watered.
the
fence.
fence.
But the gate's still being watered.
But everyone's happy with
They
it.
requested
Whatever
the
they want.
hydro.
It's been
Study.
approved.
Well,
They can't- they
first
can't
we're doing
approve
the
it.
study to see if,
They
even
can't
if you
install
could
it.
hydro.
One other thing I'd like
Maybe
to
not.
just mention, I think one of the booming fields today that I think a lot of our high school kids are gonna look at upon graduation and heading off to college is environmental science. Anything that your organization can do to promote that and to start giving the kids some background, I think would be very, very beneficial. I'm sure the school system would look at it very favorably. So,
We do a lot of internships, and we do get students from Tenafly and other school systems that come and do their hours.
do you get any support from other school systems?
Well, we they come for programs, obviously.
Oh, Peter, not on that note, email me when you start coordinating your interns for the summer.
Okay, we already have.
Rutgers has one of their programs where they send kids out
Okay.
for their internship credits, and they have to do it.
Okay,
Like the Parks Master Plan for the county,
okay,
the kids did all the research.
all right.
Like they just sat out there with their cell phones, marked location, so if you ever need bodies, just let me know,
Right.
and I'll get you
Yeah,
connected with
put it-
them.
And I think there's it's just in the preliminary phase, but I just mentioned it briefly that there's a student group in Montclair that's an environmental studies program that wants to help with Pfister's Pond.
When you say Montclair State, there's a college? Or the-
Montclair, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That they were looking for something, and I said, well, you can help monitor the pond.
Hydro raking.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Okay, thank you very much, Peter.
sure. Thank you for your
Appreciate it.
time.
Thank you, we'll see
Thank
you
you.
next week.
Peter.
Once again, this weekend, I think for everybody, we are so proud and so pleased to have the Nature Center as part of our tent. It's one of our greatest assets.
And so, if you want to mention again to everybody, she was mentioning our annual dinner is April 7th. So,
Yes.
if you can make it, by all means. I know Mayor Rustin is always there. I know you
I
were
will be
there
there.
last year, and so.
Yeah, we haven't always had a great turnout from our council. This would be a great year to show support. You can take a table for the council, can have
Thank you.
your own table.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
All right.
I was there last
Are you the public works person?
We're early.
I think I saw the Rotary last year.
Yeah.
The Rotary.
Did we have to vote on that, or
Which one?
I
do we
always
need
said
a
the
formal
Rotary.
vote for the
Yeah,
open?
we need for the Austin space, yes.
We'll vote
There,
later.
when we discussed capital, there are a couple of things that I'm recommending to use open space. So
Now that I
then
know for
if,
sure, because I haven't.
if we do
They've been running
move
around.
forward, you have to decide
So
what
I
you
have-
wanna
I have-
put in the ordinance. And that's when you have to form a
Because I
vote when the
assume it's
ordinance is
hard.
presented.
Thanks for
But first we have to figure out
She's
what we're
not writing
putting
a
in.
check tomorrow.
No,
Did
no.
they ask me
But I'm saying, did we have to vote tonight?
No, cause we vote when we know exactly what's gonna be taken out, then it's formulated in the
Think
ordinance.
about it without actually voting on any of the decisions.
No, but the open space is right. Open space
Open space sometimes
requires a
yeah,
resolution.
consensus.
You can go back.
Requires a resolution. And now that Bob is not here, we can go through this one very quickly.
Who is it?
Very quickly.
Public Works?
That Gamble.
We've got half an hour to go.
I'm trying to see if there's some room to get, just to give you a heads up, the Bergen County Master Gardeners. Our former administrator, Joe DiGiacomo, is a Master Gardener with the Passaic Group. So I asked him, did he think there would be an opportunity for the Bergen County Group maybe to get involved in the Rose Garden? And I'm hoping, I'm just giving you a heads up, I'm just starting preliminary to reach out to people. I'm gonna speak to the garden club to make sure there's not, their
Oh,
toes
boy.
aren't being stepped on.
Oh,
But
boy.
I'm hopeful that maybe we can get some
They're
really
very upset
great
at
help.
the garden club.
So tonight at the
Very upset.
Northern Valley Greenway meeting, I spoke to two people from Tenafly, both gardeners who aren't part of our garden club because it's so, they say there's really no support for it. They joined Englewood's garden club. So I said, well, come back to Tenafly and let's rebuild ours. I was
What do they
talking
mean
to
there's
them.
no support for it?
It's,
Well,
it was a whole
It's not
story.
a real active group.
It should be somehow.
You know, they
trying to get
destroyed
it.
the rose garden, they destroyed
No,
the
no, no.
butterfly, and then the,
You're
No.
welcome.
well, no.
Want to do garden
Well,
tours? And I said, no, we have a garden.
The rose garden hasn't been destroyed. In fact, it's actually come up a little bit in the last couple of years, but it's nowhere where it used to
No,
be.
but last year
Close
they
to what
chopped it
used
down.
to be, yeah.
But they wanna garden in small areas in and around town too.
Yeah,
They wanna
well,
beautify-
they've done some work around the railroad tracks over by West Clinton,
Mhm.
that little area. They came to the council and asked for permission, which the council gave them, and there was an improvement there, much
When they gave us the property for the Davis Johnson Park, wasn't there an endowment fund originally
Oh, yeah,
for
that's a good
some of the upkeep?
Yeah, there still is.
There was
So how
a
much
donation a
money-
few years ago, wasn't there, Peter?
Huh?
Wasn't there a donation a few years ago?
Yes, for the rose garden,
Right, for the rose garden.
which I don't think has been spent yet.
And I know we did
$100,000 out
the,
of a, someone died and left it.
we did the greenhouse last year in our budget.
100,000, right?
The greenhouse, yeah, and I think that the greenhouse was done. I know that inside the water,
Depends who you ask.
no, some of them,
Was it done? Because I thought that was still on the to-do list.
oh, absolutely, the
No, it
inside
hasn't been done yet.
heating was done, I think.
I thought they were supposed to replace, the humidity and the panels on the glass.
Yeah, no, the glass were not supposed, they were supposed, the shades to be replaced,
Davis
Yeah.
Johnson.
and the,
All right, so we've
That's
got
all
our,
done.
New.
Last
Why
year.
aren't we using it?
Everything
Why
from
don't-
last
why
year.
don't
The
they-
guy-
why don't they know that it
The guy was,
exists? Why aren't
the
they
contractor was given the go-ahead, the contractor
What
didn't
year
get
is
his
this? Bob's
proper
back.
paperwork filed with the state. He
Uh,
finally got it filed
Year
with the
is
state,
Bob's back.
and now he won't respond.
Oh,
what was the contractor supposed to do?
He was supposed to do all the heaters, the water, the shading, everything that was, all the
Okay, the
entire
water
wish list.
was fixed, I saw that somebody broke
Yeah, we
cement
fixed
over
that.
there and fixed
Why
it,
don't
yeah.
we-
Yeah, so now the heater is to be, the
The
shades,
heaters, the shading, the
and
glazing,
the
there's a
glazing.
few other things in there that I
This
forget.
so
paperwork
we're
wasn't
gonna
in
have to
order.
go out to
We didn't
bid.
start it.
No.
Roughly how much was it altogether?
15,000?
So we put 40,000.
Oh, he was
we should
doing,
have- we should have enough.
yeah, he was also doing
There's like air conditioning on, it's cold.
the humidity controls, the automatic, openers
That's why
for
we
the,
have HVAC
for the
service
glass
in
and the
our
seal,
budget
no,
this year.
the venting.
Oh, the,
For the heat, it monitors, during the summer, it monitors the heat.
what's your sense? You said that he's not returning calls. Is he going to do the work?
Yeah, I mean, he was chasing me, and I wanted him to start, and I told him, I can't give you the contract yet until you get your business registration
It was it a
squared
bid,
away.
it was up to a bid, how did we get this
Quotes.
supplier?
It was quotes, and he's the only one
This for
that works on the old equipment.
All right, folks, let's focus now. This is, I think we all agree that this is a department that we really have expectations. We need an upgrade here, and Bob is gonna tell us how we're gonna get that upgrade.
Well, okay,
I have some
we
questions
started,
on
do you wanna
salaries
start
and
with the
wages.
whole thing, because we went through the whole thing? Okay,
What are we starting?
now we
Salaries and
started,
wages
we
page?
start
Start at
first
the
thing
very
with
beginning.
salaries,
Oh, that's from,
okay.
What was the page before that, training?
Training, there, training.
Can I just ask,
Conference and
Peter,
training
can
request.
I ask I have a general question really for Lizette. Where are we in terms of, searching for a permanent director long-term in terms of that? What's our timetable or?
I have to do another solicitation. People
Okay.
that have applied do not meet the requirements.
Okay.
The one that met requirements on paper is a litigious person that had their tenure stripped and
Okay,
no.
all right.
So
Enough said about
actually,
that.
actually Bob and I were discussing it today, and since he is going to the Public Works Conference at the end of the month, he's gonna try to put feelers out and recruit and put the word out.
So if you were to pick a,
Next,
Just one other town.
The time frame?
so if you were to pick a month out of this year that potentially someone that you
Someone
would
else just
target,
retired and you could
that's
have a
realistic.
Realistic?
Well, that's-
Not,
that's kinda hard to
it's
predict,
hard
isn't it?
because in Norwood, their superintendent up and retired and they had to bring in their engineer. This is, yeah, I am friends with the clerk and I was talking to her about it tonight. So it's a problem that's going on throughout the state. If I tell you a time frame, I
You
can't
just-
be honest.
Okay, fair enough.
Just
That's
make
what I
sure
was
Norwood
asking.
understands they get our rejects, not the other way around.
Exactly, don't worry.
Okay, well,
If you wanna
with that-
apply.
With that in mind, do we have a package? I mean, it's two parts. One is, what are we looking for? The second is, what are we offering?
Well,
We
the
Are
can't,
we
we
in the-
can't discuss that in this.
No, if you're
Yeah.
talking about,
General.
if you're talking
General.
general,
We're not talking
and
about a
if you're
specific
talking general
employee.
and salary, that's a budgetary, that's open
Yeah.
session. Because the other issue is the state added another certification that will be placed on whomever
Requirements.
is, would have this position. So the state's not helping.
Well,
us
is
anyway.
that something somebody could take the job and then get it after they, as long as they're,
It's coming down the
on
pipe,
track.
but what I'm saying is that,
so to get back.
somebody might be on the fence and just
to
say,
get-
this isn't for me, if I'm getting more requirements, or just that could incentivize somebody to be like, yes, I want
So,
more
to
certification.
get back to my question, all right, whether it's in the newspaper ad or whether it's in a
In the league.
conversation Bob has with a potential candidate down at the conference, and that's an
I have
excellent.
it in the league, I have it
Do
out
we- no,
among
no,
all my
Do
colleagues
we
in
have
the
a
state.
salary range that will be attractive to potential candidates?
Well, if you look at the budget, the way we budget it is based as if our prior director were still here and had the 2% raise.
Well, and what is that number?
That number,
136.
Well, I didn't know, it's
It's
one
the
27, 280, but I didn't put the 2% in because.
All right, so
I
Bob,
figured-
ask you understand the lay of the
about
land
129.
better than anybody else. If we have a projected range of, say, 100 to 130, is that high enough that it's going to at least get the attention of potential candidates?
You might get some attention, they might look at it, but you're gonna be looking, you're gonna be closer to 150 range to get somebody in with with the experience that you need and the type of department that it is. You're not just going for a superintendent, you're going for a director, which is an administrative position. And the qualified personnel, I've tried getting a few people, I've tried to woo them over here, and they are qualified, but they're too close to retirement, they're not gonna start over again.
That's right,
So,
you'll be-
it's gonna be difficult to get someone with a lot of experience, and the experience that you need for this community, to leave where they are, to start over again.
And I'd like to remind everyone.
You're first, just give.
I'm really quick, that the first time around, we were in a time crunch because of retirement deadlines and pension rules. And I want to avoid having to go through this again in a year and 18 months and 24 months.
Lauren?
So Bob, with all of your training, and you were here in Tenafly, the salary we had in 2017 was 124,784. I just don't see how we're a year and a half later having to increase the salary for your kind of qualifications for another 30,000. I don't think that's realistic in a budget that's pretty tight. I mean, you were a well-qualified director, so how do we accomplish getting someone with your level in a more reasonable salary?
Kidnap you.
Well, the
If we could have.
the other issue is what employees are having to pay towards health benefits, so
It's still not 30,000
It's-
difference.
it's significant.
It's
That's why.
significant.
And every time somebody hits it's broken out in 5,000. So
Brackets,
every
yep.
time, if you start at 129 and then the next year you're at 130, what the state charges to take out of your paycheck for health
3%.
insurance is more, it's not proportional.
It's
I
more than
understand
your
that,
raise.
but-
You're
but
in-
I'm
So-
not
So
looking
is
to
that
start.
the maximum is 110.
Well, keep in mind
35%,
that
anything over 110 for
there's two
candidates.
facets to this job as I see it. One is all of the qualifications that would allow that man to do, or woman to do the job, from trees to sewers to everything else. But the second qualification is management. As we are all aware, we need somebody who is also a manager of people in this department. Otherwise, we're gonna be spinning our wheels. So that might preclude us going for somebody that has a very limited amount of experience. So-
What was it, where's Alan from, that they win a couple rounds and they still don't have anyone?
River Edge. River Edge is offering in the mid 140s, and people were turning it down.
I guess we cried enough, let's move on to the budget now, 'cause it's not gonna help us.
Well,
Where you
no,
were
but I
trained-
think.
Where you were trained for your qualifications to get all your certificates in engineering and everything, how do we tap into that pool?
Well-
that's the conference,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's the conference that
That's
I
it.
am part of.
So
and,
all of the licensing and everything, all your qualifications were through the conference?
No, through Rutgers, no.
So Rutgers, so there's a
Here's the
pool
problem
at
with,
Rutgers.
here's the problem with municipalities. Municipalities don't wanna groom anybody for secession. Not one municipality in the state ever has a secession plan for their department.
But I'd rather
So they
see
get
someone-
somebody.
We go on forever.
No,
Exactly.
well, to go to Rutgers, you have to meet a minimum qualification. You don't touch management, you don't touch anything.
I
And then you
understand
sit in
that.
for the state test. You won't have
Right.
somebody that is.
Someone who's passed that test,
Mhm.
there's a pool of people out there with the correct degrees and experience.
That-
Maybe not managerial,
That's the
I'm talking
problem.
about
There,
engineering
a
side.
lot of people, no, a
And
lot of
public works
people
side.
who have passed the test that have applied, haven't been a supervisor, have stayed in the same driver laborer-esque type of ranking, and don't have the degree, the college degree. So, the requirements to sit for a licensing exam is not the same as what we require.
Manu?
Do workers,
Just, you know, speaking of grooming people,
Mhm.
is there, have we looked at people within our
Yeah.
organization?
Mhm.
that-
Yes,
and-
yes.
And there's nobody that we can.
Nobody.
Nobody's
Well, we're-
interested in
Absolutely
doing
not.
it.
Well,
No,
what-
no, we're not talking about interest, I'm saying.
Nobody
that
that's
has-
qualified.
And
Well,
nobody
but what we are doing is, as there may be retirements at the foreman level, we're looking to train
Sure.
people for that type of succession, cause
Yep.
we do need foremen.
We need to change the description of the jobs to make sure that we groom. We
Mhm.
have to start putting together in the foreman
Right.
attributes
Exactly.
that we need for the
And
director.
that's
And
what
that's
we're-
what's
that's what
happening
we're
now with
working
the
on.
hiring process that
Exactly,
we've
and
been
that's
doing.
we are so behind on that one.
Mhm.
That's why when
Mhm.
we're gonna start that contract, we're gonna have to rewrite the job
I
descriptions.
mean, we've hired a few guys, and it wasn't just anybody that applied. We have one person that has an engineering background that started. And
Which is different from the
so
way it used to be.
we're trying to get a more professional group
But that-
in to have a
Exactly.
So,
succession plan.
really,
So
I
you
think it's,
can
I don't
start
like to spend an
grooming.
inordinate
Yeah.
amount of time on this, but I think it's really important that we give Bob the tools that he needs to attract somebody, because there's
Lisette,
you know, with, there's
Lisette.
two places. One is you put an ad in like the municipalities magazine or their bulletin board. But the first question people are gonna ask if it's not posted is, what's the salary range? And if we, unless we give something to Bob that he can work with, we'll have the same conversation a year from now.
Competitive salary.
so,
And if you just heard him say, River Edge, which is a nice community, relatively the same size as ours, hasn't been able to attract somebody at 140.
Well, I mean, I might suggest, I mean, and you said 150, we always put out ranges.
Right,
You
I'm not
know,
suggesting.
And so, the person that comes in, we use that as the upper limit, but, you know, whoever comes in, we may not get the person who would want the 150, you get the one who's 130, you know, at the end of the day.
In other words,
I'm not
BS.
sure. I'm not sure I'd go to the higher range.
No, exactly.
Well,
I don't think I'd go
All right.
So,
to.
bottom line, what we're saying.
And I think there was a recent legislation or decision where you cannot ask salary history anymore. That was
Correct.
something
Correct.
recent, so you gotta just see the qualifications.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I think Bob has a sense of where we're at.
Mhm.
I have some questions on the wages and salaries page.
Yeah, let's start. Well, first of all, I guess those two events, which were before, were so-called for the new manager once we hired him.
Oh, you did, the
Yes.
The
training?
first page.
The first
For
one,
the
Oh,
training.
before, yeah. It was for the managers that we hired,
It's-
they goes in November, they go to the training to be fully trained. Good.
So, I have a question, if hypothetically, for event number 2, if we are not hiring a new person, do we need to have event number 2?
Well, the event is in 3 weeks, and I don't
That's the
foresee
event,
you.
that's the event
Oh, is
that
that-
he's going to go and try and find somebody.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so
but
that's
you-
the one that's right now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the
But
one.
the borough's not paying for him to
But
go.
you're not paying for me to go there.
So
So,
exactly.
Okay, I didn't-
so
I thought that one was
theoretically, for this year, you can eliminate 1,272.50 out of training because there's not anybody
In
here.
that case, stay an extra day.
No, I didn't know if that was the full event,
That-
an additional full event.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
So let's go
And,
back.
and also, while he's away, we don't pay his stipend for the day.
Can we get to this?
That is true.
So, I had questions on the salaries, so we just.
Okay, it's time to, okay, that's fine.
On the, can I go to the part-time section? It's in the, almost to the bottom. What is clean communities? What is that?
That's out.
That's supposed to be taken out.
That's out.
Where is it?
That's out.
It's not out, it's showing in the
So,
budget.
and
I
there'll
know
be a
it's- I
whole
know it's
second
showing.
page of clean communities too.
Yeah.
Take that out?
Yes,
So
please.
take that out, okay. Then are we looking to fill this vacancy down here, or can we
Which one?
survive without it? I guess it's an
Sorry,
office
just to follow,
assistant.
why are we taking out clean communities?
I still don't know what it is.
It's a grant
It's a grant.
through the
Well, it's a
county.
grant, and that usually creates, you get a part-time situation where they clean up downtown.
Yep.
So the question
Isn't that a
becomes,
good grant?
Bob, without that,
No, we
is
have,
it-
we're good. You can eliminate that.
Okay.
From the salaries line.
It's coming out of the salaries
There's a
line.
secondary page later which has a whole clean communities page.
The only part-timer you need is for
Well-
the sewer license, the 2,500.
Okay.
Is the 2,500, so can this vacancy for office assistant will remain unfilled, and for where the other office assistant moved to full-time, that will remain unfilled?
Okay, we need to discuss those numbers
No,
here.
the office assistant was part-time, last year was made full-time because of
Right.
the volume of work. So
Right.
you will only have one part-time position, which is your sewer operator.
So that's it.
So
for
that will
column.
that will drop off, it's just since there are 3 years of budgets comparing, you had to see what was appropriated.
Did you take 8,800
Okay.
out of the?
So can
I
we
took
talk
it out.
about the
I'm taking
part-time
it
who
out.
went to full-time office assistant?
Mm-hmm.
Why, well, in 2018, there's a salary listed there, was that a prorated salary?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alright, can we get
There we
back
go.
to the
Well,
issue?
because that was a $5,000 difference, so I just wanted to make sure why.
Alright, the two promotions that you have given us that we need to discuss are really Lynn and Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Not by name,
I'm sorry, you're right, not by
I
name.
just spoke about.
Office assistant and administrative assistant. Now, first and foremost, your numbers, Susan, CFO, are according to contract administration?
Yeah, well,
The
no,
ad-
they're,
The CFO
they're in
they're
the
in the admin
admin,
group.
yeah, they're in the admin group,
So are they according to the
2%.
contract?
Yes,
2%, yes.
that's the
It-
contractual increase.
It
for the
does not
CFO
show,
version.
okay,
So you
No.
have a requested, and then you have the one that I.
stay with me for a
okay.
second. Susan,
Mhm.
the office assistant is not at 2% in your chart. It's at
Right.
$5,000, which is basically,
I just said-
Well,
Because it was
wait, let me just
prorated
say
for the
something.
year before.
That's
In
what we need to
18, it was
understand.
prorated.
okay.
In 19, she would get 35.7 if you didn't do anything, and 38 if you decide to give her an increase.
If it was effective January 1st, what would
So
be there is
35.7
35,000.
would be what you would be getting
But
with
it
the
was
2%.
Okay,
And 38 is the additional 3,000 that is being requested.
okay, but her salary according to the contract would be now 35.7.
Yes,
And what is requested by Bob is to move from 35.7 to 38,000.
correct.
Well,
Now,
what's
you
supposed to
cannot
be
do
included
that-
is a title change.
exactly, you cannot do that under contractual agreement,
That's correct.
and that's where.
Yes, the proposal, is for the admin to become an executive assistant, and Bob will explain why the job change that requires that, and to make the office assistant an admin assistant, and that falls within the ranges.
We okay?
Well, it's the
Why-
two,
why
that's
the-
their requested amount, so I showed you the
Oh,
2%.
Yeah, okay.
They could do that, yes, they
Okay.
could have to,
No, because we have to
within the
change the,
ordinance.
job description. All right, and now Bob, you have to justify that.
Yeah, the first employee that's going to administrative assistant has been working out of title. This individual is in charge of, has access to all confidential records for the employees, i.e. drug testing, training, medical files, disciplinary files, and also performs all the duties associated along with disciplinary actions that are taken, all the personnel action forms. This individual also processes all your FEMA forms for reimbursement, works in court.
Isn't she doing that right now?
Yeah.
What I'm saying, from the existing job that she was doing for 3-4 years,
You know, she never did any of that.
she never did
No.
anything like that.
She's actually filling out and basically was providing all the spreadsheets and meeting with FEMA in order to get your reimbursement.
Who was doing that before?
That was through OEM.
Somebody outside, you say, OEM? I don't
Office of
understand.
Emergency Manager.
So
It's
that-
within the
The
borough.
information, when I was deputy, it was like, give me the information, and I would have entered it in,
Yeah.
but I haven't been deputy for a couple of years.
Mike DiMicato is the deputy now.
So basically, this individual is working out of her title in many different facets as to what her original position was. So,
So the first one, which is basically, and would she continue to do the same job?
she'll continue to do it. She has no issues with it.
I mean,
The individual
we
has no
know
issues.
that two individuals have to do more
Mhm.
because of the lack of the director and stuff like that that were
No.
during the
Well, they
previous.
did
That-
well,
that was
under
last
the previous
year.
director, they did a lot more.
Yes.
That was
Right.
last year, however, a lot of that extra stuff, both Bob and I have absorbed from them. So this has nothing to do with what
So this is a
transpired in
permanent-
2018.
Permanent position.
Mhm.
And what is the other position doing more than what is doing now?
They took over this person, the DPW took over the tree permits, because initially permits, the applications would be given to the building department, and all the paperwork, but all the actual physical work with evaluating the trees and coming up with the formulas based on the ordinance was done by DPW. So to streamline it from beginning to end, it's at DPW.
Makes a
So
lot of
let
sense
me,
to
let
take
me,
it out of
let me
the
say,
building
when we
department.
discuss about moving that,
Mhm.
we were in your office to discuss to move them.
Mhm.
The conversation was the fact that will not increase any of the costs that you have today. We'll move them over because it makes so much more sense and we just make it more efficient.
Makes it more efficient.
Exactly. Now we say will increase the cost too. So there was, because that was the conversation we had before, let's make it more efficient, it's not gonna make any change in cost and stuff like that. So now we wanna reimburse that
Well, no,
addition-
and actually in taking it over, a lot of things were streamlined, improved, and there's better
More efficient.
accounting, a lot better accounting and accountability, and the results of that will be presented to the DPW committee within the next month
Yeah,
or so.
it's not,
And-
this isn't the appropriate setting for for
Those findings.
the findings that we'll be presenting at the next DPW.
Yeah, we understand that here we're talking salaries and we need to
Mhm.
justify the
understand.
salaries.
I understand.
Basically,
And the positions there, since with the new building and all the new technology that DPW has with not just the GIS program, but the GPS and verifying where the trucks are and where the employees are, that is something they didn't have to do until about 2 years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Plus,
yeah,
you're
but that
also
was
going
in
from.
front of their job
That wasn't
2
part of
years.
it.
That was,
That
no,
wasn't.
that was all, we integrated all that. We've integrated so many different facets and streamlined public works.
What I'm saying, that happened last year too, it's not something that happened this year.
But also, this individual is working at a title also, from just a clerk, receptionist,
Right.
to administrative assistant.
So the question is, they want a 10% raise basically on each one of them for the additional work that they're doing, plus the out of title, whatever.
So my question is how do you feel about that? What's yes, no, you support it? That's.
I do support it. The final amount, as what we went through Saturday, is up to the mayor and council. And whatever amounts decided, we would have to create a new title within the bargaining unit. And as there are changes during the budget meetings, then at the end of this, you'll see, salary ordinances with new titles. But the work that is performed, and again, this is taken apart, not considering what they had to do last year to fill in the hole. This is in comparison over the past 24 months on how the job has evolved and changed. And I don't want us to get a violation of the Workplace Democracy Act.
You don't wanna get a violation under what?
The new law,
Workplace
Workplace
Democracy.
Democracy Act, Department of Labor, there was a state law that, there was a lot of things involved, and part of it is, if somebody's working out of title, they have the right to grieve, to not just get the title, but the compensation.
So when you say working at a title, just
No,
one more
go
question.
ahead.
When you say working at a title, that's like working outside of your job description, above and beyond what you're doing?
Without
More-
compensation.
And
Without
more than just a
compensation.
temporary basis that you're filling for somebody that's on sick leave or something.
Lauren and Benu.
So we are paying a large chunk of sums to create a GIS system,
Mhm.
to create efficiencies in our borough, including this kind of data collection.
Mhm.
You know, tree permits and, other things. As we move to that GIS system, can some of these responsibilities be back offloaded off of these employees?
No, because they're
It
all,
actually-
Because they're not responsible for inputting the data into the
nothing,
GIS.
but they do the tracking. And like when there's a citizen
But that-
complaint that
Gee.
comes in.
Mazer does the tracking.
No,
Wait,
no,
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 no, no,
but
we
like
don't.
when a complaint comes in, right, and they have to establish it, put in the work order, whether it's a phone complaint, an email from one of us, or through the website, they put it in, they put the work order, it goes to the foreman, it goes to the employee, and they can track, so that way when a resident calls and says, hey, I complained about this last week, why hasn't my pothole been filled? Like it was explained, oh no, there was a backlog in the asphalt order, somebody's coming out this way, so they're tracking, they're monitoring the work of the driver laborers using this program.
So it's these office assistants and admin office
To have
assistants,
access.
not the foreman doing that work.
No, they input the information and give
initialized.
it to the foreman, and the foreman do the physical work associated with the duty. But the whole tracking and making sure that things are closed out, these
Starts with
employees
them.
have the access to it. And the access is limited to them and whomever the director would be.
I have a question after your question.
Mark had his hand up after Vanu.
Okay.
Has it been decided that that's going to be a permanent change, or a permanent change to their job description, or will that
Mhm.
fall away at some point?
No.
It's never gonna fall away. If anything, it's
Once
gonna
you give a
continue to
promotion,
increase.
it's promoted.
If anything, it's gonna increase.
Okay.
I don't,
Thank you.
workload.
Yeah, and I mean, I have another question about something else, but.
Oh, follow up to your question?
No.
Mark, go
different
ahead.
thing.
Okay, so I'm leading up to this topic here. 2017 and 2018, these are actuals, these totals?
No, those are budgeted numbers, budget to budget to budget.
So you don't have the actual?
The actuals are in behind here, but they're rolled up. That's how in the back,
You
if you
have
want
the-
to.
okay,
In the
no, I
one-
don't wanna see it rolled up,
It's,
no.
it's
Yeah,
pretty,
you'd
it's
have
pretty much
to-
close to actual.
But it's very close to
because-
actual.
Because
The point- let me just-
who takes the overtime are the
Very close
driver
to actual.
laborers.
So the point, I was going to make was that the total full-time wages, just for the DPW, for the top number here, were actually, forget my point.
9777.
Yeah.
I did the calculation.
Yeah, you
too.
did the same calculation,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
basically.
we did all the vacancies
Yeah.
determinations.
Lauren?
Okay.
Susan, what is the percentage in the difference in salaries between,
I was just
for
doing
each
it.
position?
So
Can-
you're-
I know you were crunching them over there. Can you tell me,
Right.
so if the requested goes through, what's the percentage versus what the CFO final here goes through? I'd like to know the difference.
So, if you give them the 2%,
That's
the
your
difference
CFO
between
final.
the,
There is
the
no
base-
2%,
no,
there are
I'm
steps.
taking the 2% on, let's say Christine. So
No,
you-
just
Use
say
titles,
title,
use titles.
'cause
Oh,
you
sorry,
can name
I
names.
forgot. So, if you take that,
Okay.
let's see, so the 2% is already added, okay?
It's
just
already,
saying.
it's whatever you have here
Minus,
is with
no,
the
so
2%.
Right, so
for
I wanna know
the-
what the
For
requested
the one
is.
that is 38%, 6%, 38,000, I mean, it would be a 6% increase over the 2% increase.
Over the,
Are you
over
using
the
the
contractual 2%.
are you using the 18 number?
No, I'm using
The
the,
19 number?
I'm using the
Over,
19 number.
over the
Okay.
35.7,
It's
over the
6%.
35, that's when the
6% increase.
Okay,
And
And
the
the
other
other one
one
is-
is,
it's really an 8% increase from 2018.
well, they were gonna get
It's
the 2
contractual,
anyway.
yeah, okay.
Okay, and then the other one, what was the new number?
No, they're not gonna, they're not gonna, the number is 573 with the 2% with everything.
Right,
So
And
there
then
is
the
no an
other
additional,
number.
there is not additional 2% on top.
no, I know, I'm just telling you what it is
No,
over
no,
that.
we're looking at the requested, I'm trying
Yeah,
to figure out.
basically,
The difference
just
between the
look at 45 versus 49.
I
That's
That's what
okay.
it is.
So
One of
what's
the,
the,
one thing that hasn't been brought up with these two positions that I think is very important is these two positions are basically the face of the DPW. When our residents call up,
7.5
they,
for that
they,
one.
they speak to one of these two positions. And I would tell you this, when it's not handled right, I hear about it, I used to hear about it a lot because we had some people that have been there for a long time that were not people oriented. These two positions handle it extremely well, I think it's valuable. None of us at this table like to hear complaints,
Yeah.
especially complaints about employees talking down or not giving residents the sense that they've been listened to or they've been treated fairly. So that, I think that's a very
So-
important part of this
Oh,
position.
I
And the
would
one
suggest-
other thing, the admin assistant, they're requesting to be an executive assistant. When we have our media and events planning, this person comes on behalf of Department of Public Works and gets the information needed to coordinate for an event to be successful, whatever the eventee needs to hold.
I would suggest, if I can,
Can I just ask one more question before you brought it final? Why is there a difference in the percentages here? If they're
That's
both
what I
getting a
was suggesting.
promotion, why aren't they both, let's say, 6%?
or 5%.
Well, yeah, I'd like to, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Because the executive assistant, the work, even though they're working out of title, the admin to executive is doing a lot more out of title than the office assistant to admin. So it's one, seniority, and two, the extent of the additional work being performed.
Who's more senior, the admin,
That-
executive?
The admin executive.
Is more senior?
Yes.
Okay.
So we never
Sorry,
gave
let's go.
anybody more than 5% in the previous, when we got out of title. So I
Okay.
think we do the same thing so we have a even
is the max.
keel for everybody in the,
No, I would,
Well, with the
Lou, you wanted to add something?
No, I think.
I would also, suggest to you folks that your expectations for this department
I didn't hear.
are a lot higher than some of the other departments. And I would urge you to consider the fact that a lot of thought has gone into these proposals by your director and your administrator. It's not like they throw darts at a dartboard, and every question that you asked, they've justified their answer. You may not agree with it, they've justified it. I would suggest taking into account some of the other cutbacks,
There are no other cutbacks.
well, the attrition, we've lost
Say it, Jen.
3 people in the last year and a half.
47,852.
The one that was terminated back in December, if he's replaced, he'll be replaced at well less than 50% of his last salary.
Yeah.
I think for a couple of $1,000s, I believe that we would be well served. I'm not talking about the employees. We would be well served to honor these recommendations.
The
That's
only
just my-
thing is-
Well, hold on,
Dan.
Max.
Yeah.
Vinu had his hand up.
I have a technical question probably for Susie. One of the employees, all the others, they're around meaning the driver laborers are around 2.5% or whatever. There's one in the middle that goes from 70 in 2017 to 73 to 88. There's a $15,000 difference.
Yeah, that was that step guide that I had to follow.
That's
The one that I had
They don't go,
said
those
something
guys
about.
will do the whole, we have to redo the entire
Yeah.
contract.
Dan had a good point.
There was
But
a-
why didn't
that-
that happen with anybody else? I mean,
Because there was
Depending where
a
they are on
contract
steps.
made,
Mhm.
and it was executed, and I had to follow it.
He's
Depending
the
where
only
they are
one
on
that.
contract.
The only one.
You
You have a lot of
Hired on.
senior, and now you're getting a new one, and
Hired
he
on
was
this
the
year,
only one
you're falling on
affected.
this step
So-
guide, you're hired this year, you step
Yeah,
on this
it's
step guide.
all-
It was.
He's the only
that
one
was
that's
like-
let in.
Multiple tiers, yeah.
Promise to work harder, right?
He has
So,
a,
Yeah.
The last promotion title change we discussed on Saturday was a 6% raise, so if
That
you
was
wanna
in the
match
finance.
that.
I'm okay, I'm trying to keep it even, so there is
Yeah.
no, 6% is fine, that's okay with me, if
That's-
anybody else okay.
when we made someone an executive assistant, we went to 6% as
Oh.
Dan's point.
No, but I need
You need to say the
double
number.
check the first one that we did, if that was 6%.
Okay,
It was
the-
in the finance
the-
department.
No, but in my department.
Let me tell you what the numbers
it was
are.
at 6.
Okay, at 5%, the more senior person is 47,852, and the less senior person is 37,485. That's at 5%.
Yeah, so
So what's that 6%?
6%.
Sorry, Susan, to make you crunch
it will be, we'll keep the
Max, you offered
38,000.
6%?
I'm
Well,
okay
was
with
that
it, that's,
checking
I'm
that
trying
was
to be
even-
even across all the departments,
So the
Wait, hold on.
because they
6%
talk to each other.
6%
Oh,
sounds
they're
like
not
a
all
Was
the
lot.
that
same.
checking what we did with the other promotions? So
Right,
let's be
whatever the last one
consistent.
was.
Yeah, we need to be
Because if
consistent.
one's at 5 or one's at 4,
Yeah,
one's at 6,
and they talk to
I
each
don't wanna be
other,
all
they
over.
all, exactly. They talk to each
So if
other.
everyone needs to get to 5, because one's at 7 and one's at 3, then we gotta figure
Okay,
this
so
out.
there's a difference of
There is-
500 in the first one we
They're
did.
not
What's the
all the
percentage?
same percentages when you did them. They weren't all the same percentages. They
There's-
weren't.
But
So
if,
what,
but if,
we're trying to
So,
keep it at the same.
I'm just saying that they were not all at the same percentages.
Okay, well, we're close enough if we're only 5.
But they're all not doing the same job.
Right, so you can't go by that, you
No, but
shouldn't
they're,
go by that.
but they're getting the same
No,
type
no,
of
no, what
title.
I'm saying is you
Same
should
title.
not
They
go
get-
by that,
They-
because if you're gonna say that everybody's getting 6%, that's not a true statement, so some people are getting 6, some people might get 5, some people are
No.
getting 4.
Susan, what we are saying,
I'm
we
not saying
promote,
what
just
percentage you
just
should
one
have.
second, we promoted somebody from executive whatever to executive assistant.
That was,
And we
right.
gave them a certain percentage. We are now promoting somebody else from assistant, so we need to make sure that it's a consistency.
No, that one is consistent, but that
Exactly
wasn't what the
between-
statement was.
But no, that's what the statement was, so and
No, that wasn't
Lizette is
the
gonna
statement.
check,
I'll pass you that.
That
is gonna
wasn't
check
this-
and make sure that
All
we
right,
are
let's move
consistent.
on.
Okay, that's okay, but that wasn't what was
Okay.
being
Let's
said,
move
I
on.
just wanted to clarify it. So what percentage do you want?
6% and
6%.
whatever the percentage is
Susan,
over
we
there.
gave your office a 6% difference.
One person.
One
One
person.
Right,
Was
but
that
that's
saying that's
wasn't-
close enough to her office as well?
No, I'm fine with the percentage,
What do
I
you
just
think?
wanted to clarify it, I don't have a problem with
So
that.
the next
I
big
wanted to
thing,
make have a problem
Let's
with
move
that.
on.
yeah, the
Okay.
next big thing
Well,
over
hold
here,
on, we need that number
I-
to put it in.
Right.
calculate it, please.
I'm
and
doing
we'll
it
do
right
that.
now.
The
Yeah.
contractual 2%.
Okay, so I
There,
agree
there,
with
there is
you.
no contracted with this step.
No, what I'm saying is.
37,842 for the less senior person, which is more.
37.8,
No, it's not more, it's 37,842,
Jeff,
okay,
well, just
and the
wait,
other one
wait till
is-
Susan's
Yeah.
done.
yeah.
I don't have a problem with the percentage, I wanna make that clear.
Yeah,
Okay, Susan, let Jeff have the floor, please.
Okay,
Mayor, I understand your point before about we don't want complaints about people
4.8.
working, you know, I get that. I also get that I'm one of the few people at this table of the elected officials who is a public employee, as a teacher. And I know that, I said one of the few, I didn't say the only, I was keeping you in
this is
mind.
the
We're not gonna
numbers.
disqualify you because of
48,308,
Say,
Without
it.
interruption, I don't need the,
yeah.
I get more responsibilities, I get having to add to Genesis, having to add to this, that, and the next thing. More students, larger classes, and you know what? I'm in one of the lowest paying districts, they give me the standard whatever 2%, and I still go in there each day because I'm a professional. I'm doing my hardest job, I take my 2%. I don't need 6%, I'd love 6% in addition to that, but I'm not getting that, and none of the teachers are, and none of a lot of the public employees out there. And we have all these people who do great jobs, but what we're giving the big numbers to are those who are the immediate assistants, I get that, and we're doing it pretty much every agency is requesting that. And to say with each one, well, we might lose them, you know what? If they're real professionals, we're paying a competitive rate. If we're not paying a competitive rate to other towns, that's one thing. But I know Tenafly pays a competitive rate. They're not going to sit there and say, well, I got 4%, I wanted 6. 4% in this market for public employees is really good. And they're not gonna sit there and say, well, I'm going to Norwood because of that. And if you think they are, then maybe I'm wrong, but I honestly and truly, we have our professionals here, are they gonna walk for that?
and they're gonna start
Well,
step
but
one,
You made a point of saying when your class size goes up, you don't get more money.
Absolutely
your
not.
class
When I
size-
get more
when your
responsibilities, I
class-
don't get more
When
money.
your class size goes down, do you get less
It
money?
doesn't go down.
It never has gone down,
It hasn't gone down.
never goes down.
so the
I've been
point
getting
is,
more students,
goes
more
up and down, goes up and down,
responsibilities,
they get the same.
more systems that I have
How
to
is the-
enter
How's the
data.
school system rated?
School
What's
system.
the,
That's
what's
not
the
the-
issue?
Are you
Well,
out of
same-
context?
we want a
Is that-
better
I have to
DPW
look that up.
than we have.
That's what I said.
You know what?
And
The
nobody's gonna
same-
leave
hold
to
on,
start all
Max,
over,
Max.
this, I'm sorry.
To answer the
Yeah.
question, we're
They said
probably not rated
26%.
like Tenafly, but the same thing happens with teachers here.
They have
They've
to
had
work
to
their last
enter
visit
more and
exam
more
and see.
systems, so we talk about GIS.
I sent
There's
those by
Genesis in schools, there's more things that you're accountable
The
for.
board.
The amount of
I'll get
things
confirmation.
that for
I'll get
being reviewed and evaluated for teachers these days takes a lot more effort and time from teachers. Having to post lesson plans in 2 places where it used to be
No,
1
it's
basically.
difficult.
So,
That
Tenafly,
was
who
45.
has been a blue ribbon school district, same issue. Same issue is confronting the teachers here. I'm saying the public employees generally,
There is no,
they work hard. Dan, I don't know if you didn't get, if you got Are you walking for that to another county?
No,
No.
that's
You,
different.
are you gonna smile less when you do your job? No. And I know from our employees here, they're great. Those who have pouts on their face, they're gonna have pouts on their face no matter what we pay them. Those who have smiles, they are doing a great job. But we're saying here on every one of these, well, let's give an additional contractual 2%, we're giving 6%. I want us to think about that.
There's 20 employees here, we're talking about 2.
This agency,
So
the
what-
other
well,
day, we
that's what
talked
we're
about
talking-
other agencies.
But that's what we're talking about
Done in
now,
every department.
and most
We've
of
done
the
it in
other
every
agencies,
department.
we haven't suggested doing this to more than 1 or 2 people. And the mentality that you're expressing is the mentality of the public sector, okay? And people say that the public sector doesn't work as well as the private sector, and one of the reasons is that mentality. And I think that by not necessarily rewarding extra work and quality work above and beyond, you're inducing that mentality of, well, you know, another day I'm coming into work, and
I don't think he
as
was
somebody-
saying
That's
that,
not at
I
all
don't
what I
think that
said.
he
well,
was
but
saying that
as
at
somebody
all.
that came from the
That's-
private sector,
At all.
I don't necessarily, look, we have a budget that we have to follow, and I don't think any of these 2 proposed
Yeah,
increases break the budget. I don't.
right.
I look at 18 other people on the list, and they're being treated like 2%.
The
which
truth
is no
is-
problem.
The truth is, Peter, that nobody walks out to start at level 0 in another school from level 2 or 3.
even another DPW.
Or
They're
another
not
exactly,
leaving-
in another DPW. All the story that we're gonna lose them, it's good story, but nobody's gonna go from
First of
level
all,
3
I'm not
to a level
suggesting
0.
we're losing anybody. Okay.
Actually, you have. You've
Absolutely.
suggested
Not in
several
this
times.
case,
Yeah.
not in this
But
case, but.
Between 2 budget hearings,
Mhm.
you have said that.
Okay, all I know is, I sit at the new teacher's lunch, and Tenafly gets a whole bunch of teachers that have 2 or 3 or 4 years' experience from other school systems, because of the pay situation, okay? So don't tell me that people don't move. If you're there 15 or 20 years, you're not likely to move. I could appreciate that, because you don't wanna go back to year 1. And I'm not suggesting that, but anybody is going to leave in this particular case. However, I do believe that people should, you know, we should have a little bit of sense of how people do their job. Mark?
So my biggest concern is kind of the question that I asked Lisette before. I'm like, whether it's 4%, 5%, 6%, to me, it isn't really the issue. The issue is what Lisette brought up about this democracy in the workforce, and what does that mean? I understand that, right, but I'm looking to her for her advice about what makes sense in this particular scenario. I think that should be kind of the guide that we go by.
I'm not saying that they will file a grievance, but there is grounds for a grievance.
All right,
I
There's
don't,
one
I don't
vote
see grounds
for
for
a
agreements
grievance.
here.
Hold on.
I don't see grounds for agreements here. I think that's an extreme statement to make
all right.
when we're talking about a salary range. But I have a proposal, I have something, I have something that, a suggestion. We are taking out Clean Communities for $8,800.
Yeah.
Instead of, I mean, right now we're looking at a raise, the difference of requested 5,000, 8,000, that's 13. Can we get it closer to the 8 we took out of Clean Communities?
7.
No,
No, it's.
you didn't.
13.
No, it's
No.
not 13.
It's
No.
$8,000 difference from 2018
No,
and
no,
one
no,
other.
No, no,
so it's
no, no, no.
prorated, so,
No, no.
That should be at
like I said,
35.
get
Yeah,
the-
that one was
Okay.
covered.
35.
It's
Office
five.
difference
should be
between-
35.
It's 5 versus 8, it's 3, it's only $8,000.
What's the total dollars we're talking about?
So then
for
we're
salary increase?
actually,
Yeah,
Yes, we are, Lauren, you're absolutely
what
correct.
we
It's a
agreed
wash.
with the numbers, it's good.
It's a wash.
Okay, let's go through the next, if we possible, to the next. The big
Well,
kahuna.
are
So
we
we're
finished
going,
with this?
so we're going with the recommended?
Yes, we're
but
okay.
instead of
Next.
having it end the Clean Communities, now
Alright,
we.
the big kahuna over here is now the overtime. That's the big
I
kahuna.
understand.
It really is, and we are looking,
Before that, we wanna find what the story is with seasonal.
Oh, you know what?
yeah.
That, just so you know, that number is 130,000 if you look on my sheet behind it.
I saw that.
You gotta change it.
You change what?
The overtime.
Whatever, of the history thing,
It,
department
that
should-
19 one
Should
should
90.
be,
What do you call
yeah,
that
it should be
person?
130.
I know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
you mean
change it.
Sorry.
In the high school.
When do you change, I'm sorry?
On the
Under
next sheet,
CFO
I
recommended.
didn't update that sheet, I'm
Second
sorry.
page.
Across all our
Yes, she
contracts
changed
in
it
the
to
county.
130.
Yeah, I have it here.
No, but that
No,
should
go
be
to
in
the
the
real
CFO.
sheet.
Single service type.
Sorry.
So go from
No,
page
back,
1
keep
22,
going. To the,
77.
the printed admin
The
sheet.
second page of the
Oh.
That is
CFO.
in our contract.
Yes.
So here it says
So
90.
here's
She's
90.
saying it should be
In the admin
130.
sheet, when we
Wait,
met, we
I have
changed.
another
And now we need to
Right.
understand that.
Are you talking about
Okay.
the overtime on the last
Yes.
page? Cause I need to
Too many
talk about
conversations.
this.
Follow the white
Yes.
collar
Okay.
contract.
What had
So they
happened
get
with the
2%, we get
overtime
all we
Wait, we
get.
need to hear them.
is
Hold
that
on,
overtime,
please.
overtime was cut, and that's why there wasn't leave pickup for Saturdays for a couple of years. That was the decision to cut it, and then when you say, oh, send people to work overtime for the leaves, then you have to do a transfer every year. So this is, and
It
90,000 was,
doesn't show here.
if you
Keep
look at the
going.
admin page,
Okay,
What's in
let's
the
look at
budget,
the
Susan,
other
90 or 130?
In this year's budget, it's 130, but go keep going into the
Right
admins.
I see, and
Yeah.
this,
and then the other issue is, it was always 90, but as contractual salaries
You're on
go
the wrong sheet.
up,
I'm just putting the
that
wrong sheet,
affects
what
their
you put
overtime.
in.
So the overtime line wasn't keeping up with the salary.
It didn't get
It's
in our
also
book.
it's like basically, well,
It stayed flat for a long time.
That was
So,
good.
what are in the budget right now, in our budget calculation,
Hold it,
is
folks,
90
folks,
or
folks.
130?
Can we have one?
130.
Go to the admin sheet.
you go to this one.
Should be at-
70.
Oh,
No,
oh,
The-
that's
those
the
are-
Excel sheet.
Which page number?
Can we
70.
make that 100?
70.
I still think 130 might be a little
No, look at,
high.
she's saying, look at this number, it's on page 72.
Right, I'm saying instead of
Oh,
130, can we go to
Look
100?
at page 72.
I'm on page 70.
Okay,
Instead of
No,
130,
it's
can we
because you have
make
to
it
pull out in
100?
different sections.
$100,000 of overtime.
I think the question is, we shouldn't be picking the number out of thin air,
Yeah.
right?
Right, well, I'm
How
saying,
did
look
you-
at the two differences.
Right, but
That's still
that's not the,
40,000
that's not the
over.
question. The question is, how did you get to the 130 differently from the 90? What
Yeah,
happened?
Actual spent rate.
What was the actual spend?
Cause we have 66 here.
66.
I think that you guys are looking at wrong, here is on top.
No.
This is on
there's
top of page
overtime.
72 on top.
Okay, okay, wait a
That's
minute,
other
hold on.
contractual
That's
items.
other, you're in the wrong spot.
No,
man.
that's other.
We're talking about overtime in the middle.
Page
Page
70.
70.
70, where's the
70.
actual, Sue?
Am I-
The actual is
actual is-
underneath.
Right?
The actual was
Okay.
49 in 2017,
Okay, yes.
then
This is
66.
So how do we get to 130?
I'm not saying we don't need to.
You might have
use
charged
more,
it to
we may
another
not.
line.
That's why,
Oh, I
Let's
think
find
it
out.
was.
You might have been charged to another line.
which one?
Okay, so here we go.
Seasonal,
You sucked it out of seasonal.
maybe,
Because
but I
that's
took
what-
money
It
out of
doesn't
seasonal.
show,
No, no, no.
it doesn't show.
Let me try to look to see
You
where it
gotta
was
find where you
charged
did
to.
it, 'cause
Well,
Sorry,
where
you're
were you
right.
charging
So let's
to?
get the answer to
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
Right.
I have to find
Sorry.
it if I see
I
a
was
big
having
number.
it.
No, no, that's okay. I was just, I knew you
I
were
know that
driven to
it might have been
read.
under
Because we
contractual.
have it on my
It was under buildings and grounds where the transfer for the leaves.
Under building and
No,
grounds.
but you have to see where it's transferred.
So it's 66 plus another what for
No,
asphalt?
but that's where the line came out for overtime.
Yeah, but you have to see where it went into, was that. I think it was in, didn't you guys do something in that temporary season, then I think it was out of other contractual.
Other contractual is the
Cause
only
didn't you
one.
hire a company to do something
What
for it?
happened,
Where'd it gone?
he
But-
hired,
Everything.
Susan,
a company was hired.
I was looking at that one, in other contractual, you took out 21,000 of that.
You had to put it into.
Okay, so if you take out 21,000 out of that, and you add it to the 66, because I did the
Still it's
calculation,
87.
it goes to 87,000.
Over budget.
None of them can justify the 130 based on this one.
Okay, I took 21,000 out of temporary and seasonal and probably put it into other contractual, let's just say.
Yeah, no, it
There
took
was a
out 21 out of
transfer.
other contractual.
Where is it, that's what page?
72?
72, the
Right,
first line.
you moved temp and seasonal into
We've
other
increased, well,
contractual.
we've
Oh,
increased both
72.
temp and seasonal and overtime. And
No,
I think there's some
I
overlap
put
on
it
job.
into other contractual.
Right.
Put it in, because see, look at the
You
actual number.
moved it out of temp and
Temporary, it's out,
seasonal
and
into
put
other
it into other
contractual.
And
contractual.
it's like
So-
all three
Because
have
we
gone up.
hired
So still,
people
what
to
is
do
the
work
actual,
in them.
Susan? So what is
It's
the
still
actual
low, that's-
overtime?
All of it's gone up.
You have, this we have to do, you have to look at the both numbers, because they changed.
We
Who
need
was
that
doing
so
the
we
work?
can kinda understand.
Okay, so they spent 160,000
We have a significant
plus,
amount extra.
4,914 in those two lines. And then you might have to take into consideration
Okay,
the
100,
overtime.
let's stay with me for a second. Actual for basically, it was scheduled to have 130,000. It ended up at 160,000.
For other
Plus,
contractual.
yes, plus another 21,000.
No, no.
No.
The total is 160,
Then
but I
the only-
moved 21,000 into that line item.
Yeah, so the only thing that it's basically working here is that it overrun the budget by 30,000. If you now go
I didn't
back to.
overrun it, it's within the budget, I made transfers
Well, no,
within the budget.
No.
it appears that you spent either 30,000 more than what was budgeted.
Exactly.
Or 51,000, I don't know what that 21 is.
30,000 more than what was.
And now if you take this 30,000
And
and
add
you
it to the
go put
90.
it back into the overtime,
You've got 120.
no,
Providing-
you get 66, because
Without-
after we spent
without-
66, plus 30 was 96.
You transfer, you had to transfer money to overtime last
But
year
there
in
was
order
two
to do
companies,
Basically,
what did
if,
North
I think
if you
overtime
take
should go up. I
30,000
just don't
here,
know if it needs to go
because that was the
to
overrun.
Two companies.
Can it go
Yeah.
to 100?
She overrun this one. Okay, so keep this at
Is that reasonable?
Now you take this
No,
one and
it's
put
not,
here,
because you
because
want-
it's still,
Because
you
we're
are
doubling,
still.
because we're doubling our temp and
Okay.
seasonal.
No, we're not done.
It goes from 36
Yeah.
to 64. We're
Yes, it
doubling
does.
our temp and seasonal.
Okay, what had happened was, we would hire directly temporary seasonal.
Right.
And then for a couple of years, we, instead of doing a direct hire and doing all the paperwork, we hired, we did a contract with a temp
Northeast,
agency,
yeah.
Northeast Talent. And it did work until, how would I put this gently, until last year,
It's fine.
it exceeded the,
Bid threshold.
the bid threshold, so then we had to get another company because the bid
Right.
threshold was exceeded and half the year hadn't even passed, so we had to go for another company.
I'm hoping we better manage it
So
this year.
we're not dealing with companies, so we're taking that out and putting it into temporary seasonal, so that way we could manage who is hired
Yeah.
instead of.
So unless
Oh,
we
I agree,
have,
but that, wait,
But
one
where are you
second.
taking it out of?
Well, let me say
But
what happened
that-
there.
Contractual.
That's
We
gone
took it
up,
from
wait, hold on one
temporary
second,
to-
Susan. That's gone up, temp and seasonal has gone up appropriately so, and overtime has gone up, and under other contractual has gone up, so all three categories went up. No one's balancing it out, I'm not sure if we need all three to go up.
The,
Tell me how I get that a little bit more reasonably priced.
the overtime in that line item was increased because last year the council requested that we start working overtime for leaves.
On leaves and snow.
If you go back to the 90 or 100, then all you've done is just covered the hourly rate increases for the overtime.
no, there's
And
another
it
question.
What about the temp works? Don't,
The
but
temp-
does temp and seasonal do
Temp-
the
the
snow
temp-
and
the-
leaves?
One at a time.
No,
How's that work?
the temporary
No.
is for 5 people
Mhm.
for leave season,
Okay,
right, to run the leaf vacuums.
yeah.
And then we also hire people for the summer to cover
To do
vacations. So
parks,
that's what,
playgrounds.
yeah, parks, playgrounds, wherever we
Right.
need help. So if you want to add the weekend overtime for leaves,
Mhm.
which everyone was in favor of, that's why we worked to co-
Yeah.
Yeah, and where the extra 30,000 is coming from is within DPW, but in the recycling center, if you go to page 76, the recycling collection full-time, you'll see that it went down. That was decreased because a senior
We don't have a
employee left.
Yeah, but that's,
They don't have a
there's no.
Stop.
You
separate-
have
No,
to
there
go, the way it's in the book, you have to go past the vehicle description, past the
Right.
capital.
So after
So you're
capital,
offsetting it out of the recycling.
after
Yes.
capital,
Oh.
after the vehicle.
76, show me
Because
that.
if you look at, okay, if you look at this
Recycling center.
There
spreadsheet,
you go.
If you look at-
recycling wages proposed, 2018 is 433 and 2019 is 407. So that's a $26,000 difference that's being used to put towards overtime.
Yeah, but, okay.
That's where the 30,000
But
came
listen
from.
for a second, that's a
It should
salary
be 25, it shouldn't be 30.
that we're gonna go down by. But if you just go through the numbers that we have here, something is not exactly adding up.
Could I make a observation only? It's kind of, we've
Oh, you do say 30.
we've moved a lot of stuff around last year in
Yeah.
2018. You know, we took from this account to put into that account and back again because we didn't have enough money appropriated into the right accounts. And so, you know, this exercise is almost like, to me, it's like we need to make sure we put enough money in the overtime so they don't have to move money around, and next year, we don't know what's going on.
And what we
Right.
are saying is, if you put the money in the overtime, because you took them out of a different department, that department has to proportionally come down, because now you took the money that was there, you put it in the right direction, so you take it out, you put it where it should be, and take it out of the,
Like you do with
Exactly.
recycling.
exact, so that's where we
Because
are having this
This
conversation.
is so that way there could be leave collection on the Saturdays, and the overtime, it's open to all the DPW employees to work the overtime. So you could have a recycling employee that works during the week that will get it. It's all, everybody, whether you're in the recycling division, if you're in the roads department, parks department, whatnot, your overtime comes from here.
Yeah, the only thing is that there is something that is missing here that does not compensate in the, between the overtime and other contractual, and wherever you took the money, for the moment, forget about salaries. We're talking about overtime and consulting. Something is not adding up.
So the difference between what was budgeted last year and what's budgeted this year is 58,000. So the determination has to be made is how much more money is it gonna cost to do the leaf collection on the weekends?
Yeah, I mean, from
That's what you have to
exactly.
determine, that
From the
58,000, yeah, so the difference between what was budgeted, and then I can figure out the actual now too.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to figure out.
And we're gonna hope next,
No,
that
no.
come next year, that
Sorry.
this, that when we
Let me
do
figure
this,
out.
these leaf loaders, and when we talk about these new leaf vacuums, we're gonna hope that this number has to come down when we get some new equipment here for efficiencies.
That's part of the money that we are locating now at
And the
220.
And the equipment has
Is
to
a business
arrive.
plan.
Has to show up.
No,
time.
because it should,
The
it-
show
Well,
has to show up.
it's not so, you know, with leaves, it's like snow. You never know when the leaves are gonna fall, you never know, you know,
It's like
who's gonna
chocolates.
put them out, when
But
they're
we-
gonna put them out.
we need to budget.
I understand that.
We need to
I
budget. So
understand
My
that,
only
but
second observation, the residents really like to get their leaves picked up.
so let's
So we need
put
to have the money there to be able to pay for it.
200,000.
Whatever she thinks is appropriate.
No, but Susan, she just got to the point.
It's only 50, it's only 58, so you,
58,000
overtime costs a
extras.
lot of money.
Yeah, I know, but,
Yeah.
so
When
we
these
have
guys don't-
90,000 which we did. How much money actually we spend over the 90,000?
So we spent, last year we spent 231,184.
Between
On
the
those
two
three
of them.
lines, three
In
lines,
three-
there's
This
three
year-
lines.
We
Say that
spent,
again,
and how much do we have
238?
between the three lines allocated?
Allocated right now in 2019, we have 314,620,
Versus 200 and,
56,620.
so we
Okay.
have allocated $50,000 more.
58,000 more, but
So-
then you, I don't know if you did the leaf, when did you do the leaf collection? Did you bill it back in last year, or did some bills come in this year? Do you
no,
know?
it was all done in
Okay, so that's just.
So Susan, do me a favor.
Mhm.
This is something that you have to straighten and tell us how much, because it's a $52,000 difference that we have to make sure that we don't put in if there is something that is not right.
Well, Bob, are they gonna be hiring, are they gonna do this all in-house, or are you gonna be hiring outside services as well?
For what?
For all your, are you gonna get any of these
I'm
temp
going to get
agencies?
temporary, I need temp, I need
No, we
temp.
have 10.
No, I wanna know, because we had 2 agencies
I'm not gonna,
this year.
I'm trying not to get temp agencies this year, I'm gonna do direct hires.
Okay,
Well, that's good.
so you're gonna
Temp
do
agencies weren't used regularly.
No, so,
Temp agencies failed.
Yeah, but
So-
if we do direct hires, we're gonna,
I mean, so
increase
then,
the full-time budget.
if you're not gonna do any temp
Part-time.
agencies, then the other contractual won't be as high.
Yeah, you'll see the other contractual went
We
down.
took it
The other
down.
contractual went down.
We took it down
Yeah.
by 40 from the actual,
Yeah,
but then,
from the actual.
but then the,
Money I
Higher services.
let's see,
have on my list to reduce.
so the temporary and salary wage, I would suggest, if she's gonna use temporary and salary wage, keep that number. The overtime,
Susan, I think that you should take it home and come back tomorrow or next time, because I don't think that we wanna do it we
Take
Okay.
have,
it offline and come back.
exactly,
Okay.
there are
So that's a
$50,000 that we need to redo it.
I would
Let's do
appreciate
it.
that, actually.
Yeah,
I'd like
because-
to understand more. what
Exactly, and you'll
it
explain
is.
to
Gives you
us
time to think about it.
dummies over here,
Okay.
so we all understand.
Come up with the answer.
Thank you.
okay.
All right, so we can
We'll
move
have it
on
for
to the
Saturday.
next part.
Wait, can we go backwards again?
We can both work, both works, both works.
Or we can go around in a circle.
Cleaning and maintenance of buildings.
Oh, we got already to the cleaning.
What page you on?
Cleaning and-
71.
71.
71.
Do we need 11,000 in there? We've only spent 4,000 and 7,000. Do we need 11,000?
Hang on.
It's a little high.
Hang on. Miss,
I mean, I know that's something small, but
11K.
Okay,
That's-
so
is
we
there
talk-
something additional?
yeah,
No, it's actually, you have a bigger building now. You double
Which-
the size of your building.
But then we had that in 2018.
we had that in
and they
2018,
only
that
spent
should not be
7.
an issue.
Well, you went from 17, 4 up to 6.
Cleaning and maintenance, no.
What's
No.
the-
Bob, cleaning maintenance, you went from 40 to 55, 23 to 69.
Well, you
That's what I
didn't,
said.
you didn't move it until the end of 17, beginning of 18, so
Correct.
that's difference
Right.
there.
So you spent
But
the 7,000 in all of 18?
Let's put 8.
8,000,
It might-
9,000, I don't
Mind
think we
you, the way, when you have an account and there are all these line items,
yeah.
if by having this difference, it helped absorb when something went
Was
over.
overspent.
Like maintenance of motor vehicles, if you look, when this budget is 24, and what was actually spent was 37, so that difference was helped absorb and prevent a transfer into that line item, because you
Yeah.
don't see transfer there.
But this year, we moved up to 38, so it doesn't happen anymore, so we absorbed it.
But what
No.
she's pointing, what she's
And then
pointing
you
out
have-
is last year,
Yeah,
if you had made all these cuts last year, you wouldn't have the ability to move money into maintenance of motor vehicles to cover the
yeah, but now
$13,000
we cleaned that up.
No, but you have
Yeah,
maintenance
but
and
who knows
repair
where
of
the next one
equipment,
will be.
that there
Well,
was
we should have
8,000
newer
unanticipated.
Well, here's a
Right.
cut though,
But
take a
No,
look
this
at-
is the building.
Can I
This is not
interject
the-
on
Sure.
page 73?
Yes.
You cut some lines, yeah.
Yeah,
General
I
machinery
moved-
parts in the budget.
I moved some, I moved.
The second item, general machinery parts.
Right.
Yeah.
Went from $18,000 appropriated last year to only $6,000 this year.
But
Yeah.
it was reallocated
What?
to other lines, it's not a cut, it's just money got moved to other
Right,
This is
but-
what you're
titles.
recommending
But
for
my-
this
you
year.
realize
This
zero
is the
decrease
bottom
there.
line.
But my point is,
It's down.
Yeah, all right.
it's the opposite
I
end of
know,
the
I
argument,
did.
right? In other words,
Right.
Lizette saw that and she cut it by 2/3.
Instead of just nitpicking every
See, I
little
think they
line
just put
item,
it
go to the
under,
bottom, go to
they
page
put it in
75.
this,
Yeah.
they put it
Yeah.
in
Not, last year you had
the
575,
machinery
325.
and whatever
This
it
year,
was.
we have 553,
The one that
475.
went
There you go.
to-
So there's your savings right there.
Yeah, but that's.
So
The
no,
entire
you're reading-
department is down.
You're reading,
Requested.
you're reading
Yeah.
requested as opposed to 2018 actual.
Skip a
Yeah,
little
you're
bit.
in.
You're
Oh, I'm
reading-
sorry, I was in the wrong line.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Sorry.
much, you save
But I
us so much
cut,
money.
it shows that I
That's
cut
supposed
though.
to be.
No, it is kinda funny, cause I was looking at the wrong number.
Yeah, that's
I
right,
think we're
so
up $400,000.
400,000 we are.
In this department, we are up $400,000.
No, we're up
Down
more.
20,000,
This
huh?
is the requested. And then.
This
This
is
is what we got.
How are we
Yeah,
only
yeah,
up
yeah, I
four?
know that.
No, we are way up,
No.
but we are way up.
We're up $200,000.
Yeah, we're not talking
Yeah,
about.
there's a 570,
400 from what was actually spent, 200,000 from what was requested.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
right.
400 from, so we're, like I said, we're up 400,000 from what was actually spent last year.
No, how are you getting 400?
If you're looking at the
Oh,
actual.
the actual, yeah.
Five.
The actual, so the
Yeah, but remember,
recommended,
you don't, but I'm just gonna keep reminding everybody, yes, the 200,000 are up, but you don't wanna cut. We won't have any money to
No breathing
regenerate
room.
surplus.
we have to afford
No,
it though.
you can cut, but I just wanna say,
Yeah.
don't cut it
You can
to
cut, but not cut.
cut.
alright,
But
so
keep in
we
mind-
can, Susan, it's
Yeah.
always split the baby. We have $200,000 that's up.
Right.
We should be able to split the baby.
I still wanna get
I'm
rid
gonna
of the
look at those
geese
numbers,
police.
that yes, we know what that.
Yeah.
Good numbers, yeah.
We
And-
have to
Yeah.
have them.
I still think the geese police can go, I did that last year, my request to get rid of the geese police.
Oh yeah, what's Kiss Police?
They're
That's-
the,
when
they're the
you
dogs
cut
that chase the
dogs
ducks.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
but,
well,
We have Sam and Max,
What?
so we have Sam and Max.
Yeah, but the geese police are on Sunnyside. You wanna have geese poop all over Sunnyside? Get rid of the geese police. You wanna have geese poop all over the fields of the high school? We co-op this with the high school, with the schools.
Alright,
So bring it down to
Co-op.
4,000.
What's that?
bring it down to 4,000, because how much it pays.
What
You
page is
spent-
it on, Max?
It's
$75.
page
Don't
75.
forget, don't forget, we're the lead
Feral
agent on it,
cats.
so we have to appropriate for the entire contract, and then the school reimburses
Feral
us for their half.
I like
It
that.
doesn't show here.
Sleeping up there.
Share here shows that we spent 3,400, and then we spent 3,100.
Geese police, huh?
So altogether, there is no reason to be 9,000.
That's what our total cost is.
It
Where is
doesn't
it?
show.
Where is it? What
It's
page?
like someone's like.
It's on page 75. It is a matter of fact,
What
it
is
comes
the
out
amount
from
of the contract?
74
So is the,
and first.
Oh, it starts at
What is
75.
the
Yeah.
amount of the contract?
I see it.
It,
Here, this is Geese Police, this
Yeah.
one on the,
So can we
starts
just
on
put,
74.
It starts on
9,000 for
74.
East Police, can we do 4,000 for East
Yeah.
Well, what is the contract?
What?
What,
Well,
how
I think
much
we
is
could
it?
bring,
Is there a
easily bring that
contract?
down to at least 5, if not 4.
There is
Let
a,
me-
is there a
yeah.
contract?
Or you wanna compromise,
Then
make
you
it
have to allocate
4,500.
What is the amount of the contract?
Hold on.
Just in case the geese have.
Yeah, that's right.
Can they just
Usually
double
from-
check?
The choice is 6 and 5, we're gonna
Yes.
compromise at 35?
Okay.
No, I
Because
said.
Double check the
between
contract
5
on
and
that.
4,
We'll verify
maybe
the
Oh,
contract.
4,500.
We have to verify the
Right, but that
contract.
should not maybe be 9.
No,
No, wait.
what he's saying is he has to lay out the full amount of, for
Right.
the
I get it,
contract,
but let's-
and then you get,
Let's get something a little more reasonable in there. Couple,
Yeah.
you know, we need a
Because
couple
it's,
thousand.
No,
at the
you-
end of the
but-
day,
Like I said, even though it's a joint contract between the two entities, somebody has to be the lead agent.
So
So
then
We are the
30
lead
so-
agent, so therefore being the
So
lead
the
agent.
3187,
I understand.
double
Yeah,
it,
so
that's
we-
the true cost.
So make it
The
$7,000.
half of it is,
Well, first you have to
Let
see
me
if
see
the
what-
contract,
let
if
me
the
double
contract's
check the
nine and they don't
contract.
use it all, okay,
Check
but
So we
you have
get
to
reimbursed by the
put
other
full
agency.
amount in.
Correct.
The contract says nine.
but we still have to show the greater amount.
Of course.
Correct.
Our employees
Okay.
are getting
Alright.
4%, the
What about
dogs are
street
getting
signs?
8%?
next one, 3 signs.
What about street signs?
Look at the numbers.
Which one?
Yeah.
Next
Is
one.
this for new street signs or replacement?
Street signs are for replacements and or damaged signs.
And look at the actuals
And
versus.
now we'll be buying
I
the
see
stigma
it.
free signs that will come
Yeah,
out
don't
of this.
forget
that
United
comes under
91
that?
stigma
That'll
free.
be that line.
Hey, Max, it's like an insurance policy. I never know how many police are gonna request for me to replace. That $8,000 has been that $8,000 for many a year.
We'll stay at $8,000
Mm-hmm.
if we put, part of that, it's 1 pair of blinking signs.
The one what?
I can't.
Strike
That wipes out the budget.
No, you don't.
One pair of what?
Right now, you're spending half of that, and that's
Leave it at
$2,600.
$8,000 and come
8.5
November,
it says.
right, come November, the balance
We'll
will
put
go
it in
to
the
a blinking
budget.
sign.
So 8.5.
Well, remember,
So-
the stigma free signs are gonna
I
come.
put
That's
it
good
here,
idea.
stigma
Bob,
free.
is striping
I know
you
that,
or
uh,
police?
I don't have
Me.
my glasses, I
Oh,
can't
That
watch.
whole division, just so you know,
That's for
the
the
street signs
crosswalk?
and striping used to be under the auspices of the police department.
Yes.
You had Nick retire. We absorbed that
Position.
job.
Responsibility, yep.
We absorbed all that work in DPW
Responsibility.
with no extra help in it, just so you know.
With no extra
Would you
employee.
like
Never
a,
know.
increase in salary now?
Nope.
Because you
Look,
did
I'm
this extra
smiling every
work.
day I come in, Max.
Okay, all right, so
Straight
it's good enough,
line.
okay.
Yes.
So I actually have this literally in things to add to my budget, I say crosswalk, like, linings on 4 major roads, so does that, do we need to add
What
money
are
to the
the
budget
major
to do
roads?
that?
Do they already have a crosswalk?
Yeah,
Ew,
Oh.
they're, well,
yes, they do have a
Yeah.
crosswalk, we just
You
need
can't
to
put a
road?
crosswalk
River
in-
Edge.
You just can't put a crosswalk anywhere, you need,
Well, I
especially
wanna
River Edge Road.
I wanna redo some of the crosswalks.
That's fine.
That's
Yeah.
repainting, that's fine.
But
You
I'm
need
saying,
painting.
is that a cost, do I need to budget for an additional cost to get that?
No, just tell me what you want.
Okay, so I can, that's a work order.
If there's a crosswalk there, it'll get repainted.
I mean, literally, River Edge is like playing
And if
chicken.
there's
Let's
no
do it.
crosswalk there, you have to go through the police department.
I'll talk to you about it another time.
After
I just
the
wanna
meeting,
make
send
sure.
them an email
Yeah.
with the,
And
with
he
the,
personally
crosswalks
comes
you
with
want.
a
to
roller
look at.
and paints the
Very
crosswalk
simple.
without any extra work.
Let's not do it
No,
here.
okay.
So
Okay,
it's
the
not
last
that
one,
It's always extra work.
the last one,
What page?
Billy Bob, whatever your name is.
Ah, there you go.
Okay.
You finally got
It's
it.
pet waste station.
Yep.
We never used any pennies on this one.
This will be the dog park.
It
we're
was
gonna have
up,
dog park
it
there?
was
Yes.
up for the dog
Yeah.
park, and we still haven't put the dog park in. So
It
leave
was,
it.
it was
Well,
never
we-
up for
we-
the,
we
was
do-
always 21, okay.
We do have pet waste stations at Sunnyside Park and over at Roosevelt
Sunnyside,
Commons.
Roosevelt
We
Commons.
didn't
It
spend
shows
any
over
money
here
on that.
zero.
Yes, we did.
Well, it's
No, no,
no.
zero.
Well, then they
actually.
charged it to the wrong line item.
That was a
That's just
different
a-
administration.
It's a different dog?
There's
It's a different dog.
Different dog altogether.
Oh,
Or we bought so much, in 17 we
yeah,
did.
that's right.
Strip is LED.
No, I'm saying those pet waste stations do serve a purpose at
Oh,
Sunnyside.
absolutely.
So I don't wanna have a zero and then all of
No.
a sudden we don't have bags in.
No, we should have like $500 or something if we spend zero.
What page number?
75.
75.
Line was 75.
So,
We wanna put whatever he spends, we wanna put it in.
well,
on the
can I
dog
see-
park? The dog park.
Yeah, let's say if he spends 500, 2 dog parks, another 500, that's 1,000.
We should just leave it, see how it comes once the dog park is open.
This
We'll see.
budget is a significant difference over last year's.
Look, we
And
have to-
we're not cutting anything out of it right now, we're adding in equipment, so we really should be a little more conservative on our estimates.
It's 200,000 extra.
It's more than that. Where are you just getting two? I got 400,000.
I'm going from
400,000 more than
budgeted to
budget.
budgeted.
Budget.
You're
Yeah.
not comparing apples to apples, you're
No, we
comparing
are.
No, we are.
appropriations
We are.
to actual.
Yes,
Right.
right.
I mean, you're comparing
Budget to actual.
actual to a requested amount of a budget.
Right.
Yeah, which is
Which
exactly.
Yeah,
is
that's the point. It's
almost
$400,000
$400,000 difference between the years.
But then you're not, I just want.
The
Or
budget.
Reserve
getting worried
fund,
about
we're
it.
killing your
Yeah.
reserve
Really
fund.
Surplus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're killing the
There wasn't
reserve
that
fund.
much left in 18.
Well, also,
Yeah.
remember,
No, there
if
wasn't.
you're looking, what was,
17,
what was budgeted
Yeah,
in 17 was reduced in 18. What was actually spent in 17 increased in 18.
That's
hang on a second.
But this is what the budget was last year.
This number, so when
We
you're
don't have
messing around with actual.
$75.
Oh, I'm not on that page, I didn't think that.
What page are you in?
It's not 75, where did you come to?
Right.
84? Okay.
Now that you're in the
I'm-
next section.
I'm fine with looking at the amount, you know, you see what happens.
84 is,
Oh, that one is okay.
Why
I'm
is it
trying
going all the
to.
way, that's the next
I
section?
have no idea.
The next section is the recycling.
Yeah, you should do one section at a
Ah,
time.
no,
Yeah.
you're right, you are right.
Even spent all
So
the
it's
76,
authorized?
right?
79, I think, no?
6.7%
No, 76 is where recycling.
76 is recycling.
Eugene?
And I don't, I mean,
Look for the recycling
these
salary.
are really large increases in this budget. I'm just,
No, yeah, we should be
and this
talking.
doesn't count, we're not even discussing the list of damages, repairs, or the,
Well,
this doesn't
when
even
you
discuss
talk
the
about,
capital.
when you discuss really large, it's 2% over last year's budget.
No, Jeff says it's 6%.
If you look at the bottom line on the appropriation summary, it's 2%.
Is this one
No.
75?
It's 30 million versus 29.4
The
million.
entirety of the budget, he's talking about just for
I'm
this
doing
department.
this department.
Just for
Right,
this
but my
department.
point is, if you take $400,000 out of this department, that means you've left no increase or money whatsoever
No, I'm
overall.
not suggesting that.
Right.
But I am saying that if you take, not the 400, but if you're taking the authorized amount from last year versus the authorized amount for this year, the recommended amount, that's a 6.7% increase for that department.
Yeah,
Just
Right.
understanding.
Understood that.
For
I
an
understand
entire
that.
department.
Right, but
One of the larger
that's,
ones.
that's,
One of the larger ones.
that's half of
Probably the
the whole
largest.
difference in the appropriation year over year,
No, I know.
right?
But if $100,000 comes off of that and various things, you know,
there,
$10,000.
you know, I
Does
think
help.
that the task is to go back
Then we're at
and
The
take
1.9.
half
capital
of
is for
that
the
out.
benefit of all,
It's,
not just
it's,
one.
you don't have to go from 217 budgeted to 2.9 budgeted when you actually spend 2.5. So there is 200,000 that goes into reserves, and
Right.
Susan is scared that we're not gonna, but we're talking about 400,000, should be somewhere in between that we should need.
And keep in mind, if we hire a DPW director at a competitive possible salary, this budget will go up.
No.
No, it'll go
No,
down.
it'll go down.
Because
Because,
We're not
because we're
hiring
paying, we're paying a
consultant
consultant.
fees versus,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it
but-
depends on what the
It
rate
will
is we
pretty
hire
much
at.
be
No,
flat.
Flat.
It's still
It'll
flat.
It'd be
When you
flat.
add-
Because
when
the
you add in
other
all
part-
the
Budgeted prorated.
bells and whistles, it'll be flat.
Pensions and benefits.
So,
Maybe,
Susan,
yeah.
Car
Right.
expenses.
there is something in here, besides the 52,000 that we know that it comes out, that should be able to be adjusted because the increases on the bottom line are very high. And I'm not only talking about the projected one, which goes by 200,000, 240, 207,000, but the actual versus projected.
All right, so I'll look at it and then I'll have to consult with Bob and Lizette just to make sure I'm not cutting something that they need. But I
Yeah.
will look at it.
Yeah, because it's, the discrepancy is too high.
Okay, so look, the answer is,
We'll run
let our
the numbers.
professionals
Yeah.
do some cutting.
Okay, I understand have cushion, I think we put cushion everywhere in every one of those categories though, I'm not sure we need that much cushion.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe we could move this down a little.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
100,000 is 0.5% in tax increases for people in Tenafly. So it's so significant. All right.
Recycling salary?
As long as there's money to leaf collection.
Including the
Tell me
leaf
what the
collections
money-
and everything.
And snow removal.
And snow removal.
And
All right.
just like,
Snow comes out of the truck. What's
I
that?
understand a lot of
Are we
it.
done with him?
are we going to recycling now?
Recycling.
Recycling.
The recycling.
Did we, was that a question for you, there's a vacancy, did we, advertise that or not yet?
For driver laborers in general, we're advertising.
This is a vacancy, driver laborers, we are advertising.
For
And
recycling?
do we need to fill that position?
Yes.
So, let's go back to our master
Storage
plan.
stuff, yeah.
We're buying 3 trucks
That's right.
that will basically have one person to do the work versus what 3 people do now. We will save by that, we're gonna save 3 trucks multiplied by 2, 6 people. If we are to start the plan today, we know that we're gonna be needed just for that specific 6 less people in a year from now. A year from now.
No, they'll be.
4 less
Six.
people.
4 less people.
No, why? It's 3
What do you
people,
drive?
3 people on a truck.
three
Right.
people on a truck,
One each.
we have 3
Oh,
trucks,
we're gonna have 3 trucks?
You're gonna,
yeah, we
well,
buy
hold-
3
We're
trucks.
gonna be
Hold on,
using
hold
2 trucks.
Hold on, you're only gonna be using 2 on a regular
That's
basis.
even better,
Well, hold on a second.
because now we're using
Because
3.
you will reallocate these employees to other things that are needed in the town, filling the potholes, beautification of the parks
Yeah,
and land.
so can we allocate, we have now 3 trucks with 3 people, 9 people. We're gonna go to 2 trucks with 1 person, so it's 2 people. 9 minus 2 is 7. Is it correct, 9 minus 2 is 7?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it's verified. He's a banker, so he knows this stuff. So in our planning, we'll take 6 people or 5 people to do beautification, potholes and stuff like that. And now we
And
should be
cover.
able to look, 1 person should be a savings for the town besides 5 people doing the work.
Well,
So can we
It's
start
called-
planning now?
This
it's
is
called
attrition.
attrition.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the attrition means not
Attrition means
adding
not adding-
on.
But we don't have the,
attrition is savings.
I'm sorry, we don't have the trucks yet.
That's 3 years down the
That's
line.
true,
The-
but
We
that's
don't
not
have
what
the trucks.
kind
We don't have
of-
the trucks.
You still have
That's a
another
We don't have the
reallocation of
training.
the budget.
What's
You- If you're going to,
We're
you're
talking
gonna
about
take one out now, so what happens if the trucks don't come in on
Since we're
time?
talking about
Which-
Which is more likely than not to happen.
It's,
I can't
it's
remember the last time
long-term
we
planning.
ordered something that it came
It's
when
the
we
long-term
expected.
planning, if we start, okay, we'll wait it out, then we might be for 3 years, we're not gonna have a chance to do that.
Well, the department in the past, what is it, 6 years?
There's overtime
has-
here.
Where?
I've been running
In
it
the-
at
in
the fish,
their
at the
department?
fish-
5,000?
at the fish
Contracts
Well,
don't get like
I mean,
5
you
years,
raise the
45
overtime next year.
Not enough help. You know, you're freeing up, basically, you're only freeing up,
Can you do a
Yeah, we're
temporary?
gonna get rid of that.
temporary what?
Can you hire a temp,
To do what?
whatever you think that you will be doing?
So if
No,
I
no,
maybe
no,
the
it doesn't
question,
cost more
Bob,
money.
to Max's question,
Yeah, it
this
doesn't cost more
vacancy
money.
for the 38,000, what will their job be? Is that what we're talking about, right?
Right here.
The vacancy.
So
Right.
Are you
I'm
back to
saying-
salaries and
because,
wages?
What do
No,
we
no,
wanna
different
recycle?
salaries.
Recycling.
It's a
Recycling
different
salary.
one,
Yeah,
it's a different,
because the
recycling.
rec resigned,
The last
Correct.
vacancy I'm
and
asking
that
about, step
means
1,
you're replacing
driver
for
labor.
So the question is, what will this,
almost half the price.
Yeah, we can do a
Salary.
temp.
Can we borrow a Department of DPW guy to be a driver laborer?
Yeah, yeah,
If we
yeah.
need to.
Peter.
And we did a temp.
Hold on.
There's too many people talking. So I have a question for you.
Go ahead, sir.
So if we're gonna buy these 3 trucks,
Mhm.
and we're gonna save man hours, people, whatever it is, right? If we hire someone to fill this vacancy, that's like a 25-year commitment.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think the
Exactly.
question
Exactly.
is there, I'm asking you, I'm not answering the question, is there a way to fill whatever this role will be with, you know, our version of a seasonal worker who works for us for 6 months, 9 months, whatever it is that possible?
No.
But we
Well,
can,
why?
we can do
Why
a
they
seasonal
do.
and move somebody from the DPW to fill this, so we have that, and then
For one
when
If
the
we
time
need to.
comes, you know.
we have a department that's been working understaffed for as long as we can
We,
recall.
we think that you can get a temp for that, or you can
But
get
he's telling
additional.
me you can't.
No,
But that's
this-
what
I'm
no,
saying.
this- you wanna
This is when the truck
fill
shows
the
up.
temp with a driver laborer.
We
You're-
can take
you're-
another
you're
driver
temp-
laborer and put it here, and put a temp someplace else.
Yes,
I-
but your
I would
driver
like-
labor is who you use for snow
Snow
plowing
plowing.
and leaf pickup. You can't get a temp that has a CDL
For
for
snow
insurance
plowing.
reasons.
This is not, those guys are not CDL guys.
All
Tho-
these guys are
Everybody's
CDL.
a CDL operator.
Just bear with
Commercial
me for a
driver's
second.
license.
Yeah.
You can take another guy that has a CDL
Mhm.
from the department. and move it here to do this work. And then you can take a temp to do the tree cutting, pruning and stuff like that.
No.
No,
The
they have to
temps
be
only do-
licensed to do
Yeah.
menial
Really simple
work,
stuff.
very
They're
basic
just
work. You can't have them,
laborers.
you can't have them tree climbing, you can't give them a wood chipper, you can't give them you know, heavy equipment because the insurance doesn't cover them. They're just there to, you know, help
An
with
extra
the
set of
lifting of
hands.
containers,
But I think
supplement.
Mark's point about it being a 25-year commitment
Yeah.
is important.
It's
Because-
important.
And it'll be a
Before-
graduating.
You've
before
got
I
people
answer-
retiring every year, and that, so when you have an extra man next year, you don't replace him. We don't have the extra man now. You're betting on the come.
So as a,
That's
as a,
what you
as a
always
potential
do.
compromise, I have a question.
Okay,
Is
so-
when, if for
You're
a
next, Lou.
did I interrupt? I'm sorry.
No.
If there's a vacancy, okay, and we approve this budget, does that mean you can automatically, that you then are free, once it's approved, to go out and hire that person?
Mhm.
You don't come back to us again.
That is correct.
So,
If you want to add a new program, a new division, a new something, then we'd have to come back
To
with
add
hire.
additional person.
so my question is there enough of a question about this issue that we make an exception to that particular rule in the DPW, that if the council decides to put any money in there for the vacancy, you have to come to us and discuss it again, because we're not sure we really wanna fill it, but we're not sure that we don't today.
Just remember, you strip on a Wednesday, every Wednesday, Friday, and even other days, you strip other departments within the public works to do recycling. Every day. You're never running a full shift on a road crew, parks crew. You're always taking manpower from those other divisions to man the recycling, because the recycling has to be picked up.
Lauren,
And can
just,
that be
just
done?
one second, Lauren.
Not if you reduce the
If
staff.
you recall, when we went over the DPW salaries, there's 2 vacancies there
Yeah,
that are scheduled to be filled.
which
This
is
a-
okay.
This is a 3rd vacancy.
Yeah.
How about, I mean, Bob, when you fill these vacancies, you don't specifically go out and look for somebody that's DPW versus recycling. You fill them, when you fill one, you put them wherever you want, one of the
Right.
3 places.
Correct.
So how about as a compromise, after you fill the first 2, before you fill the 3rd, you come back to us and give us a status report as to how
I'm not there
how
yet.
the manpower is working, because you guys want
It's
increased,
the same thing. we know
increased
that.
productivity,
Yeah.
and yet you wanna cut staffing. Lauren?
Okay, I am seeing that we have 5 guys on staff now, so the guy just resigned, we have 5 working the trucks. I then also see 2 driver laborers working the recycling time. Do these 2 driver laborers in the recycle center sometimes fill in and work the trucks?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Everybody's
technically,
interchangeable.
hold on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 employees who are technically CDL licensed, and then the foreman, driver laborers, who can be interchangeable to work. Now, each truck is a staff of 3, and how many trucks go out per day? 2 per day, right?
No,
How many?
Wednesdays is 3, Fridays it's 3.
Well, we don't have manpower for 3 right now. How are we doing that?
Hey, you just answered your own question.
But how are we doing that if we don't
I
have
stripped the other
licensed-
departments.
They're borrowing
licensed
from the
divisions?
other
So
department.
right now, no
Everyone-
matter what, we are borrowing licensed drivers from the DPW.
Other
Well, they're all
divisions.
They're all
DPW.
different.
Don't think
For
of them
other
as,
divisions.
you're just,
For
you're
other
just
divisions.
taking, you're stripping manpower from other divisions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work this through, how many
Well,
people
what
we
are the-
could move around to get this done, cause we're doing it right now.
We're doing it all right now.
We're doing it
Yeah,
right
and that's
now.
why the parks don't look the
So-
way they should be, because we're taking
So
people
let-
away
Sometimes there's
from
only
the
3
parks
people in
Let
to
parks.
do
me-
recycling.
I don't
Let me
think that
finish,
that's the
let me
reason.
finish.
Yeah.
I think,
I don't think that that's
the
the reason.
commitment of a salary with pension and benefits is a significant, look, again, this entire department is significantly more expensive. I am looking for opportunities here to be more reasonable in the budget. We are getting or spending enormous amounts of sums in capital here to get efficiencies.
Mhm.
Hiring this person instead of moving some people around for the year, which we're doing already, you know, I'm trying to figure out if we have a
But
solution
play-
in
The
place
reason,
now.
the reason for the efficiencies was to free up the manpower that we have to increase
Other
the amount of
divisions.
help that's necessary to provide the services that you're looking to provide.
I
If we're
agree.
going to start cutting, then
I'm not
don't,
talking about cutting, I'm
then
talking about
don't,
keeping status quo.
then don't spend
So,
$1 million on
Lauren,
the garbage
Status quo
trucks, just
versus
stay where you
just
are.
bear with me, I think
no,
that
wait a
what
second,
Peter
Dan-
was saying,
Dan-
it's reasonable because what he's saying, don't hire 3, hire 2. You only have permission to hire 2 right now. When you, after you hire 2,
Come
and
back.
see where we
Come back.
are,
Right.
come back and we'll make the decision.
Right, exactly.
Basically, we made a decision, we don't hire
You still
one.
have
But
to-
if the person who resigned didn't
Yeah.
resign,
Well-
you would still have this
can't
number of
not leave it
people.
in.
So here's
that
the,
division.
here's the thing.
And we're
Yeah.
borrowing from the
If
other.
we
And
do
still
that,
borrowing.
we're
When
still
you-
borrowing.
budgeting for 3, we're just not spending.
Exactly.
Correct.
We're not
Exactly.
spending that third one.
Exactly, which is the more important
Okay.
part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan,
And
please.
to
I don't
make
even wanna
everyone
budget
else
for
feel
third.
better,
Hmm?
we have in the next 3 to 4 years a potential of 13 retirements. Potentially.
Yeah.
3 next this year. Wait, 4.
Is there a mandatory retirement
No.
age? So
No.
how do we know?
25 years.
They will,
It's
The two,
more likely.
two employees have already said that they are considering putting in to
There
retire.
it is.
Mhm.
So we need to do the contracts quick
Hmm?
and change
The
the,
contract expires this year.
so we need to go to this, so we wanna do the contract, to put it in new hires at a different price immediately. So we don't get the
13.
you understand?
Where's under the
Because that's
contracts now?
important to get.
yeah, right. It was not-
We'll talk about that, that's a different story.
Yeah, I think the union is the one that has to initiate.
No, nobody, we can initiate the same. We know at Verizon, we
Do you
started,
think that's okay?
we started
Let's not talk about it.
immediately.
Manu,
Yeah.
you think it's okay, hire the 2 and
Hire the 2.
we'll discuss the third
Yeah,
one?
Budget for
Discussion.
the
I think that
third
that's a reasonable
Jeff?
cost.
Okay.
Okay, all right, let's move on, move
Okay.
on.
What is the
We done with
decision,
the
just so I can
DPW?
take some notes here?
We took
Decision
2,
is to
hired
budget
2,
the
and by
Hire
the
two,
time
and then they
they
have to come back.
So out of the
for
2, are you
40.
gonna get
Huh?
driver labor, commercial with license?
Yes,
Yeah, they
all
have
of
to
it,
have
They
it.
all
all
have
of
to.
Okay,
All
so they
of
have
it.
to.
These are
All of
fungible
it.
parts, don't think of them
all of it.
Got it,
they're
okay.
fungible.
Maybe you can hire one to
Or they become fungible because they get
Oh, I have a
paid.
question, wait,
Trying to
on page 77.
Go back.
We're on 76.
77.
You are, but she's on 77.
Okay, we
I
got,
don't have any
yeah,
questions on 76, that should be good.
77.
Oh,
What's your
we'd
question?
like to come back though.
I might.
yeah.
What is other contractual items? Can you just tell me what that is for 30,000?
In recycling.
What is it?
In
Oh,
the,
that's,
that's in the recycling
that's,
program.
those are tipping fees.
Tipping fees.
But,
Which is
What are
what?
tipping fees?
When you
That's
read
when you
them.
haul all your yard waste out, all the, getting rid of the bulbs, getting rid of oil,
And it's
getting rid of.
nowhere else here,
No,
it's
all
that's a
in
separate
recycling.
contract.
Mhm.
Okay, I just didn't know what it was.
That,
And why
that
did it?
includes the garbage tipping fees?
No.
No.
I didn't think
That's
so.
a separate
I wish.
spot.
That'd be cool.
We don't have garbage tipping fees, we have a garbage contract with a contractor.
No, we
Yeah,
do
No,
have
we
garbage.
pay the
Yeah,
tipping
but I-
fees.
do?
that's
On
what
top of
it
it?
is.
Yes.
You have garbage
You-
coming into the recycling
I
center.
noticed where it
Yeah.
comes from.
Yeah.
You pay it to the county.
We pay to
Covanta.
Govanta.
Yeah?
Yes, those are the tipping.
On top of the garbage collection that we
Yep.
have?
What it costs you for the labor to pick up, and then we pay the
Yeah.
fees.
Okay.
Page 78? Oh, we skipped over 76, so I'm
Move it, move it along.
77.
I don't have any questions on 79.
There was something like
Or 79. Are we hiring on the building maintenance, are we hiring a new, position for part-time custodian?
Yes.
Page 79,
No, I'm on the next
The
page.
salary and wages.
80.
I'm on the next.
that. Okay, which
She's
one?
in
Building
buildings
maintenance.
and
Building maintenance.
yeah.
I have a question on this one, everything.
We zeroed this out, do we have,
Yeah, we didn't understand the other contractual items, which are,
What
Yes.
page
What
you on?
page are we on?
next one is 82.
no, what
the
about,
next
I'm on the,
division.
I was still talking about the salary.
On the salary.
Okay, on the salaries.
Alright, but that's it, we're hiring part-time custodian,
Mm-hmm.
1/3 goes to the library.
Yeah.
Right, we charge back the library for, no, up here, these are Sunday, wait, is this
Huh?
Sunday? No,
In the
wait a
middle of
minute.
the page,
Where's the Sunday? one?
vacancy
That's-
PT custodian.
One
Isn't
third
that,
to
aren't these
library.
guys on Sunday?
That's what it is.
On the bottom?
Jim Monday was, no, part-time custodian.
Oh, no, where's the Sunday? Oh, no, forget it, they're not in here. They're in the library budget, because they're only on Sunday, they're not in our
Alright,
budget.
that's all my
They-
So
questions.
this is all of our budget, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
What page now?
Okay,
82?
next one is on page 82. other contractual items we have,
Oh, what's that?
again,
So, sorry, just to go back to the salaries for a second. So we've actually added an additional person if we put in the vacancy. Because we're moving James Mundy to
Oh,
full-time.
not by name, not by name.
Sorry, we're moving the part-time
Part-time.
custodian, into,
Yeah, that's
Mr.
what,
Rice?
they did do that
Well-
because Bob McQueenie, he retired, I mean,
Bob
one person
retired.
retired,
Discussing.
and the other person
Discussing
moved
the
into another
contracts.
department, right?
Mm-hmm.
but the point.
Two left, and then they're replacing with one.
Right,
One
but
part-time.
so
Yes, but you're supposed to
two,
talk to them
two
about
left.
by title, not by person.
So why is it going up? If two left, why is it going up by 9,000?
I think because the one individual was at a much lower, amount, by 7,000 about, so 6,000,
He was hired in 18.
yeah.
Well, he didn't work all of 18
Right.
under
That's
this
a
budget.
prorated.
No, he got moved.
He goes moved out.
He got moved to another
He
part
was
of, he got moved to DPW to,
Yeah.
That's your
And
demurrer.
he
You
was
got
hurt,
moved.
he didn't,
Yeah.
he was
I mean-
he was
Yeah,
volunteer
that
fireman in
guy.
the municipality
That guy.
and got
That guy in the
hurt,
middle.
but we didn't pay for his sick leave, so that also, he was unpaid for that injury.
Mhm.
Okay.
alright. Other contractual is the same thing.
82.
82, other contractual,
What is that?
and it's way substantially higher than what we paid for every year.
Where is it, where?
Other contractual
middle
under.
Page 82 here.
Oh,
Line
is it?
901.
82.
And this one, this is your fire alarms, all your alarms,
Mhm.
all your security monitoring. What else? It's your bug spray, it's your,
Yeah,
I thought that was
you
a free
understand the
service,
point.
though.
You
What?
understand the
Doesn't
point, we
Bergen
spent
come in and spray
26,
for free?
22,000.
No, that's the mosquito spray, that's something
Isn't
totally
that
different.
And we have a 39,000
That's not-
39,000 appropriation, and it doesn't make any.
I remember that contract.
yeah, I have all the contracts to support it all.
So
It's
Susan,
just
you
that
have to look at this
I'm
one,
gonna, I'll
Okay.
provide that to
Yeah,
Susan.
bring it down to at least 30.
at least, yeah.
Well, first he has to look at the contracts that are for 2019, tell me the total amount.
Okay.
I don't know what they
I'm
didn't
gonna
do,
review it,
I
yeah.
don't know what they didn't do.
Okay, now, here we going again.
With
Where?
83.
Where's here?
I'll just say that.
We moved that to 30? It's for the 30?
Yeah,
No,
Susan's
we're gonna
gonna
pull the
move,
see if we
contracts to
can.
see.
pull the
Ah.
contracts and
I'm
we
pulling
should
all
move
the,
out to 30 or
Contracts,
something.
make sure they add up to
30?
that.
Yeah, whatever
If we
contract.
can.
If we can.
Oh, so they wanted to go down to 30
They
if
have to
possible?
check
Yeah,
the
that's right.
Oh, it
Yeah,
depends what the
It
contract
all depends on
is.
what the
After
contract
review.
is.
whatever
It depends on the
Okay.
contract.
30 after review.
After we,
Okay.
Do I-
And then the same thing with HVAC.
HVAC
No, I don't
contract
know
the
if
same.
we should do
Where are you?
something.
Well, we
Oh,
should
next
look at the,
page.
Max,
Oh, yeah.
you wanna cut HVAC, look where we are already this year with the $7,000
I said, well, I need to understand
And the
the
15,000
lower
that wasn't
cost.
done.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Look at the one below HVAC, maintenance and
Yeah, but-
supplies.
Right.
That's in capital.
Repairs.
We're spending
Okay.
money in capital to replace that
But-
stuff.
No, no, no.
No.
We have
That's
two
not
things in
maintenance
capital.
and repairs
Something
are
has to be
different.
Yes,
done
something,
about that.
no, I
That's what
understand
we're
that,
doing.
but stay, I
Hold on,
need
where's
to.
our capital?
This
budget?
one,
83?
but they can't, you know,
The capital budget.
Yes.
Alright, so we need to understand,
Which
we
one?
going back on the other one, we going back to make
We're
it
making-
even.
getting a
I
new
mean,
unit.
I'm not
The
gonna go
circuit.
the lower line, we're trying to adjust.
Control.
So if we adjust this one, HVAC maintenance, go to 15, yes.
This has to stay.
No, I didn't say
Oh,
no.
okay.
Has to stay,
So I'm
right.
saying, if this goes to 15,
Then the other one
and this
should be
one,
able to go
it's
down.
12, and we never spend, then between the two of them, one of them has to give.
which was the one that you're saying has to
Which
give?
one?
The HVAC contractual.
AC.
If we go up
502?
into maintenance,
Yeah.
502.
yeah, if we go up to
Uh,
the maintenance, we should not go up also into the contractual.
Right, cause we spent last year $28,000, why do we have $45,000 this year budget?
Yeah,
For
so
both together.
between the two of
That's
them,
the question.
we have to get to some sort of a logic.
Plus, we're having new quality controls installed in the capital.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
bet
but
you
that's
there was
not
other
gonna
money.
that's not gonna do
Did you
anything
charge
to
the
your
center around?
mechanical.
But the
No, no,
maintenance costs will go
uh,
down
uh,
because we.
Mr. Bill, Billy
Were we
Bob,
getting high
Billy
maintenance
Bob.
bill?
Billy Bob, listen for a second. Once we put the controls,
But
right now we
were doing
calling
more
HVAC, it's too hot. They come in here, they said, they do nothing, $14,000. Now you have over here, at least they do nothing, but at least the employee can change that. You don't have to call them. So when we spend $50,000 in controls, hopefully we don't have the same thing happening every day. If you call them and they
But-
charge you $100,000.
But they're not coming in for the too hot, too cold.
Yes,
They're
they're
coming in
with-
for
Zone control.
pumps burning out, air handlers burning out.
That's a
Well,
different story. I
But
looked at all the.
that's under HVAC contractual.
Yeah, I pulled with Susan all the HVAC from Hughes, you know. They are called in specifically too hot, too cold. 2 days in a row, they fixed this one, they didn't fix. And they calling that it's freezing here. Those things should be kind of
Yeah,
moved
but those
on.
are that's the actual mechanism that's not working properly up in the attic that's causing that problem. It's staying wide open.
That's why we paying that, we putting in specifically, we putting.
You could put a control there,
Yeah.
but when that controller sends the signal to the box that controls the valve, that opens or closes. If this isn't working,
Yeah.
that controller, that thermostat
Right.
is worthless.
Yeah, listen,
But
That's what
but the
these-
point still remains
Controls
I
aren't
understand.
working.
that we're allocating more, far more than we are spending.
yeah, we are allocating far more than we are spending.
So can we
So
bring that to 20?
Actual appropriated, actual 39 spent.
Is this Tenafly or Tenafly?
Can we bring that to 20?
15, you had 1,000, you spent 15, where did you get that extra 14 from? You got it from one of these
No,
line
no, no,
items.
no,
No, no.
but we're covering for
Billy
that
Bob,
in the in
Billy Bob, we put it in so you have it.
Right.
15,000.
So between the two of them, now you have
This
more.
15,000
Yeah,
is
45.
extra.
Yeah.
But you better look
between
at
the two-
plumbing, AC and heating too,
I know.
Plumbing, AC and heating,
one
okay,
line above. Where
okay,
the actual was $9,496 and
Okay.
35 cents.
all right, I looked it up.
So
Right.
that's 21 and 15 is 36.
You add them up, and it's
36.
still, it's too much.
But you have a problem with the HVAC and it's a big one.
Hopefully, that's why we putting in account of $50,000
What,
to fix it.
what they're saying is the bottom three lines, actual, adds up to $37,000.
Right.
You have allocated this year $50,000.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
did we put in all, I don't know if all the
We just
bills
put
are
that,
in.
we just put all, you know why it's up? Because we just put that extra $15,000
It was
worth
supposed
of
to
work
be
in.
done
That
last
was
year.
supposed to be done in
When
18,
did
has
you
to
do
be done
that?
this year.
And that's gonna be
And I
charged,
didn't do it yet.
that'll be
It's
charged
gonna- it's
back to
coming
this
over
year.
to this year
That's
now.
right, they put it extra,
That's what,
yeah.
we covered
Right.
that cost from
No,
last year.
And
there's-
we put it in.
But we didn't budget
But-
for that last year, or we did?
You have it.
There was work that
Billy Bob,
wasn't
you have
done,
it
so
there,
he's saying that.
50,000.
No, no, no.
If it would have been done last year, you
The
would,
number
that
here
this,
would have been
this,
15,000 more.
Right.
yeah, there would have been
This-
15,000
Yeah,
more.
that's right, that's what you
So
said.
it
That's
would have
what I did.
been
Now I
27.
remember.
But does it come out of last year's budget? 'Cause it-
That
No.
won't,
No, because
that's
the,
before
no,
this year.
the work wasn't done, the quotes were provided early last year, but nothing was executed, but we have to still execute it. So we
So
can't,
add
we can't
15.
charge it to 18, we have to
Has to
take.
be charged to
So it
19.
has to
The
be
service
19,
was
which is fine.
provided.
That's why I bumped it up
No.
to 15 to cover that extra work that
Okay.
we done
That's
last
what
year.
that increase
Okay.
was.
Last year,
So
that's
I don't
why.
have to review this.
And then next year, it'll go down.
What's next? Anything else on
Yeah,
this one?
there is one, swim club maintenance, $5,000.
Mhm.
Yes,
That's for,
that's the
which one?
Tenafly,
What-
The one that we
what
own.
maintenance is
That's
that?
the one we own.
that we have,
what-
that we
what's
have to, the
That makes sense.
Why do we
fencing
have to
and
take a
tree
tree
removal.
down?
But that's part
Tree removal is
fencing,
expensive.
are we gonna buy
Why do we have
fencing?
to?
If it's what they do, right?
It's to
gonna
replace
fall
the
down.
fencing or else
To the house.
it's a JIP
No, onto
liability.
the three-phase
So
primary
we
that
have
runs
to
down the
replace
street,
the fencing over there?
which is worse.
If somebody gets in
Are
and
we
with the
talk-
fence, you
Yeah,
get
Yeah,
charged.
because you also have maintenance throughout the
Bob,
year.
Are we talking
sorry.
about exterior fencing or?
Exterior
So
fencing,
regardless of
lights.
The property.
Regardless of what we do with that space.
No,
The
that's
fence
why
will
we
stay.
didn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
we didn't know that
It's an
we have
insurance
to
requirement.
replace.
I have a
Question.
Liz, I
I'm
have a
sorry?
question.
It's,
Reasonable question?
yeah.
I have a
that's
question about this.
Mhm.
When is that pool getting filled in? Why haven't we filled in yet?
Because we haven't allocated the money for it.
And there is a
Isn't it
whole story,
dangerous, though? I
no,
mean-
there is a
No,
whole
it's
story
locked.
about
The
that.
whole
If we
is
fill it
locked.
in, we cannot
Can't
rebuild.
Can't undo.
Unless we have a plan
And it might need
to
a
figure
special
out,
survey.
unless we have a plan to figure out what it is. The moment you fill it in, you can't do
Well, no,
anything
if
anymore.
we remove the pool,
Yeah,
then
you can't do anything anymore.
For handcuff.
So before we do that, if we don't remove the pool, we can, if we
well, we
want,
really
build
not need to decide what we're doing with it.
exactly, before we do anything.
It's an incentive, you don't do anything, you have to protect.
Yes. All right.
And now we're on,
Are we done
solid.
with
80.
No,
DPW?
solid waste, there is nothing.
That's an estimate.
Bob, real quick.
Safety reasons.
What's
We're going out to
green
bid.
communities?
Yeah.
I know what clean
By the way,
communities
where
are.
are we in the bid?
What
It-
page?
the bid opening is
141.
How many people answered?
Wait, that's what we took
That
out, we
thing?
took out clean communities.
Okay, so
No,
it's
we
more
do
than
have
that.
I know
salary
what it
increase.
is.
Okay,
March
Wait, so-
28th.
So if we
March
took out the
28th,
salary for
Thursday.
clean communities, why do we still
No,
need to
that's
budget
different.
27,000?
We are getting money
No,
for
that's a
clean.
matching
get there
grant,
first?
that's
Yeah.
a matching
We're not even
grant.
there yet.
So whenever you have a matching grant,
Well,
revenue
they're
and
looking at
expense,
page 141.
get the grant in, and then we have to.
I guess we're done with 132.
Yeah.
yeah.
So then do we need the salary of 8,000?
It's not a
No,
salary.
it's totally, we
Salary
took it
came
out.
out.
No,
That
We,
came
they
out.
went
No,
out.
I know, but I'm saying to get, since we have a matching grant and we're getting a grant for this,
You have to put it in, has to match revenue
but
and,
so then will
Supplementary
we,
bookkeeping.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying is does in the salary and wages pages, under the DPW, we took it out, but was that salary in part of the grant?
no,
No.
No,
Good question, okay.
No.
If
Okay.
you look at the revenue section, then you will see that that's revenue and it matches exactly what city spent.
Got it. Okay, so what's green?
What is green communities?
Solid waste disposal. I don't know if this one is
Oh,
worth
good.
anything.
I only worry about the clean communities on that
I
one.
have a question.
It's a 0.
It's 0.
If you clean it
Bob,
up.
on page 137, recycling tonnage,
Yes,
So
so
we didn't spend it,
that's a
we
grant.
appropriated it, we didn't
That's-
spend it.
that's another grant we have to appropriate.
Yeah,
And-
that's a
and-
matching grant.
and that, we get that from the state?
Correct.
Because we're recycling.
Correct. That's what you received after we submit our recycling tonnage grant report
Green
at the end
community
of each year.
matching grant. And you
While
would
Bob is
afford
here,
more.
can we talk capital?
Yes.
Yeah, well, just a second, let's
Oh,
finish.
well,
We're done.
let's finish with operating first.
We're done.
We're done?
Yep.
Alright, so let's recap. Susan,
Yes.
can we recap because we're done? What you're gonna be looking is to see, right now there is this 400,000 between what happened really except to the next, to trying to cut it to a reasonable amount. And we're gonna look at that.
I'm gonna look at something.
Yeah.
Okay, do you wanna go to the damage list first? While we're-
Sorry?
We didn't do the damage list.
Damage. Oh, yeah, there was some question about the damage list, yes. What
I have
page?
lots of questions on the damage list.
Yeah, there is something that,
It's smack in like the middle of this packet,
yeah,
it's the damage list.
Public Works then?
We do now.
yeah.
What page?
List need of repairs for damage report. It's not, doesn't have a number, it's kind of in the middle of this.
I meant for us.
What's the heading on it?
Oh,
No,
borough.
maintenance and repairs.
Maintenance and
Maintenance and
repairs.
Well, no, you'll see it in,
DPW.
So,
Where is it?
I wanna talk about number 2, I'm gonna forecast there.
Yeah,
This is a brand new DPW building, why do we all of a sudden need to repair everything?
That's just not the new building.
The DPW garage base is not part of the new one,
No.
that's somewhere separate,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Oh, is that the one
Those
near
are the
the,
those are the
Board of
original
Ed?
buildings near the Board of Ed and.
Okay. The council chamber doors, can we talk about that, 'cause that was actually expensive.
are these doors?
The what
Those,
doors?
those two, the two exterior doors, the one here and one on the other side, they're rotting.
So, the fire prevention came through, could you tell us what they said, I mean,
They have to be replaced, so they're operational. They're emergency exits.
How could those, even, you know me, I'm the optimist, but how could those doors cost $20,000?
Rip out and replace, all metal will have to be fabricated.
26.
They're not standard doors.
I
No, I
know it's
understand.
broken.
That sounds
I just had a- I
excessive.
just-
Sounds extremely excessive.
Listen,
Well, it is expensive.
I would like your opinion on this last item, which is the safety barrier for you.
that was requested, but it's not in the capital.
Let's not get into capital now.
It's
Well,
not.
we have to, we have to talk about the trucks,
Yeah, but
Yes,
we
yeah.
know, we're not yet at the capital.
but capital's the very next thing.
Yeah, next thing,
Yeah,
let's finish
so
this.
when we get to capital, I wanna do T-back first so they can leave. It's a very,
But Bob
very
is
small.
here at the table.
I
I'm not
understand.
going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
I'll take a
He's
break.
like hanging out.
We'll take a break.
Yeah.
I'll take 5.
We'll do T-back.
And we have Jamie.
So,
Well,
Only for you,
we'll
Cheryl.
do
Thank
T-back
you.
first, and Jamie and Bob can duke it out for
Yeah.
number 2.
so we're not doing the, 'cause it's here in, oh, it's zeroed, okay, it's zeroed.
Zero.
Requested.
Alright, just checking.
Are we finished with the operation? We're gonna go to capital now?
Yeah, there don't have.
Okay, does
a-
anyone need capital sheets? Did you bring?
Yeah, I printed the
Alright, so
capital sheet.
T-back
Did
go.
anybody else need it?
Cheryl, sit down for 5 minutes.
I
Does Jeff
taking
need
my
it?
stuff.
Can we take a 2-minute break, Mayor?
Sure.
Yeah, does
Mayor,
anybody-
can we take a 2-minute break?
Here,
2-minute break, sure.
Look at this.
New page.
Mine,
Here,
we're
look
looking
at
at
this.
ours, and we
Mine.
had to combine all the
See,
departments.
Here's, new pagers.
Yes,
How many are there?
those are gonna be the 25 new students that we're getting. They're $600 apiece,
So
and we still don't have enough.
And you're gonna ask for 10.
How many students you said?
How many?
25 students go into summer course.
In,
But I thought we said it was 14 last.
No, it's 25 new students going to class to becoming new EMTs.
so what happens to the
They get
people
the
that leave?
pagers, even though they're
Yes.
students?
Well, they won't be when they come out. They'll be
So-
EMTs. Everybody gets a
In
pager,
July.
no matter what.
Hold on, because I thought in the budget, for uniforms, we said there was gonna be 14
No,
new.
there was 14 from last summer.
New members.
Yeah, they're not members. They won't be getting stipend. They're going to
Okay.
be students. They're on probation for 8 months before they're even eligible for a stipend. So for like the first year, they're not even,
Next year's budget.
I understand.
right, so they're
Trying to get the
just
numbers
kind
up.
of, I got 25 going to school, maybe 10 only pass.
So why do
So
they
why
get
we
the
need
pager? if
pagers?
they
Well, we
don't?
have to allocate 25 in case, we're not getting 25.
You're getting 10.
You're getting 10,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I still don't have enough pages.
okay, so you're getting 10 pages.
Right.
No, I think that's reasonable. That's one of those things you throw away, see how much it sticks. You got 10.
Well, sometimes they do lose them out in calls.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so you got 10.
I lost mine in
So you got
a
10.
toilet once. I wasn't going in to
So
get it.
they don't return them. Cheryl,
They don't
they
Uh-huh.
don't return them, or
They do. The college kids, when they go, when the college kids go to college, they bring back their pages and we give out to the students that don't have pages.
So how many do you have altogether? With
Well-
the 10, how many do you have?
That I have to double check on.
Is it more than 26?
Yes,
So
because,
then you have your
because we
26.
have to replace batteries and sometimes they break and sometimes they don't go off.
So
and-
do you need a full 10 then?
Yes, because I've got 25 kids
But you
and I'm
have
only
to-
gonna get 10 pagers, so
That's-
But you
if
have
they
to- No,
all
no,
pass,
no,
we're
but
not.
you
What's
have
the total,
existing-
total complement in a TVAC? How many individuals?
I don't know what yours is.
How many
members are
members in
TVAC?
TVAC?
Total?
It's
Do you have
Well, we have
40?
60 now.
There's your,
No, but you have,
But they don't use.
but there's still a rotating number that some of them, the papers
Right,
come
some of
back.
them never come back because they wanna keep the pages, then we have to go send the police to go get them.
What
But
do they do with pictures?
I would love to tell you what they do with those pagers, but we,
I think they're just lazy, they want somebody.
we
to
also
come
have
back
I
and-
Am Responding, which is a backup for our pagers as well. They come on our phones. So in the middle of the night, if there's a general page, it'll come onto our phones. So everybody hears it. But this is a minimum for the pagers.
Alright, so 10 pages, I think it's, you
Yeah, but
got so
10
many.
10 pagers on top of tablets, on top of radios, on top of
Wait,
A4s.
But there's
Wait,
separate-
wait a second, we didn't get
It's
to
an
the
expensive
tablets and the
tablet,
radios
yeah.
yet. Just 10 pages.
Well, the tablets is the ones for the state. Has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, so 10 pages, so 6,000. Alright, now we're going through the
Which next one?
the new portable radios.
Oh, yeah.
portable radios.
We're not touching that one.
Well, we don't. I just, because
We
you said.
cannot touch that one, and I'll tell you that we're gonna have to do that in a closed session to find out why you cannot touch that.
Okay, I just want to tell you what to throw at us. That there was a call that you didn't get it because you
That's
didn't
what
get
we're
the-
talking about,
We
closed
can-
Yeah, well,
session.
let me just say, I went to talk to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher
Why
told
did you
me-
go to talk to the dispatch?
Because it's important for the council to know the truth. That's
We
why it's
have-
important.
it-
So let
okay.
me finish.
Okay,
So they said, okay, if there is a call, we page them. If they have radios, don't have the radios, has nothing to do with what, we page them and they respond. If they have radios with 16 frequencies or radio with 12 frequencies, it's still, the only way responding is because we page them. Okay, so basically, now if there is something else they wanna throw, see if it sticks, we're here to, but that's what they told us, that basically,
so a dispatcher told you, when they page it out,
yeah,
every time there's a call,
yeah,
I'm hearing it on my pager and my radio every time?
yeah. Well,
That's
not
an
on the radio, on the
absolute lie.
pagers.
That's an absolute lie.
I
Well-
have a question, does the
Absolute
dispatcher,
lie.
so let's say you're, Does the dispatcher call any one specific TVAC member?
No.
So let's say
No,
there's an
they
emergency.
page,
No.
they do a general page.
Like-
No, they don't do it general, but that's where you're wrong.
Okay.
You guys need to learn what we do.
Okay.
And then you can make your statements. You're making absolutely
So let's
the
hear
wrong
the
So
statement.
tell us
that you
what you
have.
do.
Yes,
Let's hear
at
the your
6
statement.
p.m. to midnight is duty calls.
Yeah.
That's a separate page so that I don't get every freaking page over the radios. We do 800 calls a year, over 800 calls a year.
Okay,
I am not listening to 800 calls of pages when I'm not on call.
which good. So-
Okay, so 6 p.m. to midnight is duty call.
Yeah, so. but
Midnight,
it's still
no,
a
you're not,
page.
you're not
It's a
listening.
paging
You're
call.
not listening.
Hold
It's a
on,
paging
call.
hold,
Hold on.
hold, Max,
Yeah.
would
You're
you
not
let,
listening.
hold on. Let her talk.
But he doesn't.
Let her talk.
She doesn't tell us how do they get
Let her
calls.
talk.
How do you get those calls?
Well, first of all, I was gonna ask you.
Okay, the
Well,
paging system.
Cheryl, wait a second.
Okay,
You said from 6 p.m. to midnight is duty call.
right.
What is duty call?
Duty call is, there's specific people that are on call that have to go on those calls.
So those people,
There's no other way.
they're not in the office.
Assigned.
They could be
Mhm.
home. They could
They're
be.
assigned.
Yeah.
So
They're assigned.
And how do they get called?
Now, the police police dispatchers have a list of who is on duty call every night.
No.
No.
So how does that work?
When they get the duty call from 6 o'clock, we get down and do a rig check. We make sure our rigs are ready to go. That's the team. They could be anywhere from 3 to 5 people. Then they get paged out on a certain tone. At 7:30, they do a pager test so that we know that our pagers are working properly. Okay? Then we're set for the night. At midnight to 6
So
p.m.
let's
At
just
midnight
recap.
to
Let's
6
just
p.m.
recap.
At 6
From
p.m.
6 p.m. to midnight,
Wait,
it's a
wait,
pager
wait,
call.
wait, wait. You're-
From six-
Midnight to 6 a.m. is another duty night.
Yeah, but stay with the previous
Wait.
one.
No,
No.
because it's all the same, it's all one day
Okay.
that are assigned. The only time we have to worry about other general calls, general out there, is from 6 a.m. on that morning to 6 p.m. that evening. Anybody can respond. That is general pages.
Okay.
That's that comes on everybody's radio, everybody's pager. If there's a CPR in progress, it goes out everywhere.
Right.
If you're a duty person, I do not get that call when I'm sitting at home.
Okay.
I have my radio on from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the day. I turn it off at 6 p.m. because somebody's assigned and we know we have a crew.
Just let her-
So that there's no way that we're not gonna get an ambulance out. If we need a second ambulance during that time that we have a crew, they will page it out on a general and all of us will get that page. So that we know we need a second ambulance to go on that call.
Okay.
So the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, there's a crew there.
Yeah.
If they need a second one, they'll send it out on a general page. There's different pages, and we do not get the duty calls.
So Sheriff, during the 6 p.m. to basically you get a group to be paged, and then there is a general, but all of them are paged basically when there is a call.
If they page it out on the wrong paging system.
That's a different story. if they don't.
But that's what happened. And that's,
But that's
the
doesn't
part you
mean-
didn't bring up with the dispatcher.
No, because there is no, the issue is,
And someone paid the price for that.
Hold on.
yeah.
Cheryl, the overriding question here is, you're mentioning pagers. We try and understand why we need pagers and
Okay.
radios and we're not gonna get to the tablets yet.
Well, the tablets are
Eventually.
in the ambulance.
Why do we need pagers and radios?
Radios is so that we can hear what is going on. So a lot of times, when we hear that the police are going up to East Hill for a possible unconscious person, we're already getting dressed, getting out the road, because we already know we're gonna be going on that call.
So you're on the police frequency?
But when you guys switched over, we had enough radios for everybody, and everybody could hear it. So if the paging system even went down, which it does, or they paged it out on the wrong frequency, we still heard them and we still could go.
We heard them on the radio.
We heard them on the radios. Now, they can talk on their police radio band and we can't hear them. And they think they're talking to us on EBA when they're actually talking on the police band and we hear nothing. And when we need something on a call, we can't get to them. We still are not allowed to communicate with them on their band. They only let us listen.
So
And
it's
that
back-
is a problem for us.
So
it's-
the
it's
issue
a
was
backup.
that a pager, when you didn't get a call, was because they got the wrong pager, not that because you didn't have the radio.
We didn't hear it either. If we heard it
I
on the
understand, but
radio,
the-
which
but
we
the-
would have
the
heard,
way the-
we
the
would
way
have
the-
heard at the third page when
Yeah.
they said the guy was unconscious
But
and,
the
and
whole
done,
point is
we
that-
would have gone.
Yeah, but the whole point is that the way that they alarm you, it's through a pager. And so they did not do the paging, and that was the problem. And the backup system, if those people are still sleeping at home and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, nobody has the radio, it would not
Everybody
have-
had the radio.
Yeah, but I'm saying at 2 o'clock,
Everybody has
everybody
a-
sleeps.
everybody-
Max,
Yeah.
you know, you're telling her how her operation is running.
No.
And I don't
No,
believe
no,
He's
I'm
talking
not.
about a hypothetical.
No, we're not talking
Lauren
about-
has her hand up and then Jeff.
Yeah.
Right, I just wanna go back to the police frequency on the radios. Number one, has the chief been informed that TVAC no longer can hear it? Number two, what
Mhm.
steps have
Yeah.
we taken to
We,
alleviate that?
we bought 4 radios last year because we had, and then we budgeted for scanners
Yeah.
Mhm.
and all that stuff. Well, that's not at our homes anymore. So when we had our radios at home, we could hear, I mean, I have one at home, but there's only 4 of us that have radios at home.
So how
So-
can the police help with that? Can we
Well,
make
that's
some
why I
sort of-
budgeted it for 8. We'll get 8 crew chiefs who are in charge of driving vehicles,
Mhm.
because they're $8,000 a piece. Because you bought these really high expensive radios, and our radios are doing us no good now because we can't communicate with anybody.
You have 4 that are doing you good. Right?
4 that are doing us good
So
now,
what happened? The police changed their frequency.
and never included
When-
us in
when you say-
the.
when you say
Can't we fix
that they
this?
don't allow
The
you,
only way to fix it is by
It's-
buying radios so they can hear it.
You need different equipment.
Why can't our TVAC be allowed on that frequency? I'm
You
not
don't
clear on
want
that.
back and forth on that.
I don't want
It
It's
that.
has
a-
something to do with the police, they
it's
don't
a
want us
long
on there,
story.
and it costs, and I just got a bill for $554 to program the 4 radios we just got a month ago, mind you, when we talked about this last year. They charged me $545 to program 1 channel.
That's significantly cheaper than $80,000.
No, program the radio so I could hear
They
that
have 5
1
radios.
channel.
They have 5 radios already.
4.
But there's
4.
no other solution than
You're
buying
next, Jeff.
brand new, I'm saying there's no solution of compromise here for the
No.
existing radios that we have in that frequency.
To have it
No.
reprogrammed.
Jeff?
In-
Our radios will not work with the high frequency radios. We tried listen, we are upset about not being able to hear the police.
Sure.
We can't, when a guy comes out of the diner and says, you need to bring a defib and a suction in because we're doing CPR in there and we didn't even hear it. It makes us look really bad.
Okay.
So Jeff, please?
All right, so just some questions about the radios themselves. First of all, you want to be able to hear the police,
Mhm.
right? Is it just a receiver or transceiver, the radio? You know
It's-
the difference?
We only receive them, we can't
So it's
transmit.
just a receiver, you can't transmit. Is it programmed so that you can hear if they are scrambling their signal?
Mhm.
So that's really where the program comes, is to de-scramble, right?
Well, no, we can hear them talking when they're going on calls and what they're doing, or if they have a,
Nobody
Because-
can listen to scrambled.
What?
Nobody can listen to scrambled.
So you can't hear
No,
if
nobody
they're.
can
not when
listen to
the,
scrambled.
it's like say it's a bomb threat or something.
Yeah, nobody can hear
Then
that.
we can't, then we'll be.
When you hear the.
Squeak, yes,
Squeak.
we can't do that.
So, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is, I for years have been in amateur radio and I have.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I have radios up the wazoo that I can listen to the police all day long on their frequency, and these radios are programmable by me and don't cost even close to this. So I'm just trying to understand.
We tried the
what
scanners,
the
like you
difference-
said, but when we get to different places like the JCC and stuff like that, then we can't hear them. So we bought the scanners, we bought the portable radios that we could just, but certain places we can't hear them.
Well, that may be
and-
a signal issue, which could be.
But the problem is that
It's
we need to use,
corrected now.
but we can change, you have the radio. Here's the radio, I brought it the other day.
Yeah.
We have to change over to EB, we're not gonna carry 5 different radios.
Right.
So we change over to EBA when we wanna talk to the police,
Mhm.
we change over to the police when we wanna hear the police. It scans between the two of them, so we don't have to do
Right,
anything.
so that one is able to transmit, that's not just
Yeah.
a receiver,
Right,
you can
right,
talk to them.
right. We
We
can't
don't
talk
allow-
to
we
them, we
can't
can
talk.
talk to them through EBA, which
Which
is our
is-
channel,
Your
Which is
channel.
a different channel.
But
Is
I
that
mean,
one of the radios you wanna buy?
yes.
Okay.
the radio itself has the ability on a frequency to transmit.
Right, but we
That's what
also
I
can,
want.
we also can hear all the other towns,
Right. No,
and
I
we
get
also
that.
can transmit through the only thing is that the only way we can hear through the police now is through
Okay.
this radio. And unfortunately, they're $8,000 apiece.
That's one of
So
4.
what is the
By the way,
Yeah.
Cheryl, we fixed the problem with the frequency by the JCC. We have a special
The
antenna
signal,
now.
not the
The
frequency.
signal, because she said the signal, now everything should be working over
Okay,
there.
so when we call it EBA with our regular radios, they don't hear
Require
us.
the police to allow them
Even
access
with
to
the,
the
we just put in
radios.
a ton of money to put a new a new antenna over there.
It doesn't, it may put a new antenna, but when we're up at the JCC and we call an EBA, they don't hear us, so we have to call them on the phone. So we have to work on,
You
yeah.
Is there a law
that's what he
that
wants to
says
do.
the police can't allow the TVAC access to their frequency? Am I missing that?
No, but that has nothing to do with that.
Listening.
Really has
Nothing to do
nothing,
with
this is a
But that-
distraction for, the fact that you can talk or not is not
Not
material.
talk,
What
but-
she's saying is that she cannot scan them.
No,
We cannot hear them.
well, we can
because
hear
you-
them. Now, on this radio, we hear them.
Yeah, I'm saying that's,
Can't hear them on the
the
other
fact,
radio.
it's
Need
a
the tools to
distraction.
hear them.
Don't worry
Need
about
the
talking
correct
to
tools
them,
to
not
use them.
talking to them.
So if we're saying if we get 8 more, then we'll get all our crew chiefs who drive ambulances to get the radios.
We talked to the
Eight,
fire
you said
department.
this is for
It says
10
10.
here.
This is for 10.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
80,000.
yeah,
They're
so,
like 7,000
no, it's 8,
something
so that's 10.
each.
So that's,
Yeah.
So that's 10.
in here.
So,
Yeah.
So can we
Cheryl,
go
we
down
talked
to
to the
8?
fire department, they told us
Right.
that they have only 3 of them, 3 or 4. How many? Why?
I can survive another year without the automated leaf machine. I can't survive another year with the cabs falling off these
Even
top
with the new
kicks.
one that is coming,
What's that?
we just got, getting
The
a new
roll-off?
one from the,
You get a new
insurance.
roll-off, right?
Yeah,
That's replacing one of the top kicks.
Yeah,
That
so-
replaced another top kick. So we have 2
That
more
was
top
functional.
kicks. This one and 1 more next year.
So can this hold off for 1 more year? Because we're spending so much money on trucks.
The
Like
ones
I
that
just
are
said,
on the left.
He's saying,
Instead
One
of
or the
instead
other.
of buying me
One
to
or-
buy the leaf load, you're not buying me. Instead of buying the automated leaf vacuum, buy the top kick.
If he could cut one or the other,
If-
he would cut the first one.
So if
He's
we
saying
do
he
that,
needs the top
So
kick
if we-
more than the leaf.
Mm-hmm.
if we give him the top kick instead of the leaf loader, what if we took the money for the
With
leaf
insurance.
loader, put it into the road paving program,
Yeah.
save that many more streets?
yes, but
I
that's what,
think after Leaf Armageddon this past year, I think that it's the appearance of the town, it's the safety of the roads. I think our leaf,
I don't
our
know,
leaf
it's a
collection.
function of the.
I don't know.
You've got-
It
you've
was-
got-
machine, it's a function
Right,
of the staff
people.
and.
you've got
I
your
think it's both.
director
I think
telling,
it's a combination.
you've got your
Consulting.
director telling you that the truck is not gonna make it, okay, and that's a snow truck, so.
But we're ordering a snow truck that we're getting through, didn't we just order a top kick and we got some through insurance?
Yeah, but that was
Replace
from
one.
last
That's
year's
what
budget.
already.
I
And
understand,
we
but so
finally-
that's a new top kick in our
But that replaces
fleet.
one that was.
No, that's
Well,
just
that's
a-
replacing one that was functional.
Yes, I know, so that's a
And
brand new
was
top
I
kick.
just told him, I have
replacing
6
a
of
new
them.
one.
And how many you need?
I-
A
I-
fairly
we're-
new one that got damaged.
And
But that was
okay.
number 3, that was number 4, this is number 5, and then we have 1 more after this. And then I have all my top kicks
So
replaced.
then we don't need to
Which is-
go,
which
I mean,
is
I see the
where I wanna
5-year
be.
plan.
I
We
think
don't
we
need
can
to
hold
go
off
into
on
21,
this.
22,
I
23.
don't.
Probably a half hour.
I'm gonna be honest with you,
Probably.
you're adding a vehicle by buying the automated leaf machine. You're replacing a vehicle if you
That's-
get the top kick.
I
If you're,
would-
You know, there's
Agree
another
with
thing
that.
to consider.
and the top kit's gonna get used
Mark.
more than the leaf loader.
You know, we put 1.2 into the capital budget. It's not gonna be spent this year. You
It
wanna
doesn't
give them
matter.
both, give them both trucks.
It doesn't matter. It still
Well, it
goes
doesn't.
towards
It
it
doesn't.
still goes towards the taxes.
No, it doesn't, because
Yes,
you're
it
not
does.
spending it.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
once the
What's that?
budget is in, it goes into the
Only
taxes.
10% of it.
I'm sorry.
No, five,
So
5%,
five-
only
snow,
5% of it,
leaf,
Max.
Tree
5% goes
branches,
into
what
the
else?
Oh, yeah, I buy them with a hook lift.
Yeah.
It's a multi-use vehicle. It can even hold my hook lift trucks actually are able to carry a leaf vacuum. So it can
Bob-
carry leaf
Bob-
vacuums,
Bob,
salters,
Bob, what's-
chippers, everything.
Bob, what's most important
Yes.
is the 1.2 million is not gonna be spent this year. It'll be spent next year. If we give you both of these
The
trucks,
1.1, you mean?
well, those two.
1.1.
I understand.
No, but you have
1.1
to
has
put
to
in this
go.
budget,
But
has
the
to be
cash
certified
has to be
funds.
on
No,
hand in
no,
order
has
for
to
you to
be-
order those,
It's only
the
0.5
garbage trucks.
No, you still have to appropriate the whole
It goes
amount.
into this
Right.
budget, but
You're not spending it.
I know,
And
but.
that doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
You have to
Still
account for it.
appropriate
You have to account for it.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, if we give you both of these trucks, can we look forward to a respite next year? Are we gonna be in a position where we don't have to spend a lot of money next
He
year?
wants
No.
another top
If
kick
you're gonna,
next
if
year.
you're gonna, if you're gonna buy 2 trucks, then I would say buy 2 top kicks.
No, because next year we're gonna have $1 million basically
fire.
for the fire truck. We're gonna have $600,000 for the garbage collectors for pack cans. We're gonna have, it's
Well,
not.
are you, then, you know what, I mean, he's the director. Of the 2 trucks, he wants
So
the
let's get rid of the.
top
leaf
kick, so
loader.
we'll do the leaf next year, as much as we know.
Okay, so
We're gonna
you-
have 2
I'm gonna
leaves
fight for
next
the leaf
year.
loader to
Well,
be
you can-
kept in this
Just do
budget.
one.
Then you're paying for 2.
Then
Then you
one
pay for
leaf
two.
loader
Don't believe it.
saves the work of 2
Yeah, but
people,
you can't
We
not
have-
take
Saves
that
the work.
every day.
It's just eliminating DPW.
1
Have you
person,
seen the top
which is
kick?
100,000 for us.
I mean,
No,
So let's
it's-
get an assessment.
It's a seasonal employee
Right.
that goes
Can
on
we
the
do
end
seasonal employees?
for running the, not the automated leaf
We're
vacuum.
getting a brand new one.
The tow behinds that have the manual hose, yes, I can use them,
Lauren,
This is what it
and
takes to run these departments, they need this
what do you think?
How many top kicks are out
I
at a
think
time?
I'd go with
4 at a
that.
time?
when we plow,
Okay.
every one of them,
Six.
every one of them, and then some,
And
then the
more if
garbage
you
trucks,
could.
and then all the little trucks,
I
the
know we
pickup trucks.
want the leaf, but if
Okay.
if it comes down
We get
to
22
pick
for-
one and he's picking.
Alright,
the
so
bullet,
you pick the
get
top
both,
kick, you get the top
knock it
kick.
off.
I would go for the top kick, yes.
That's what you pick, that's what you get.
But if you don't do tandem,
If I don't do what?
then-
You put this to the vote.
With this, I can put 3 trucks in a row.
Let's forget the
So
tandem.
go around, go around.
So should we-
For solution.
But it's not the cause of it.
All right,
It was a mess
Emma,
because the dump.
this is the last chance the council has to give them
Legally
both. If
pick
you
up
don't
the
wanna give them
leaves.
both, we'll go around the table and you can pick either the top kick or the leaf loader.
Or both.
You wanna give them
Or
both?
neither.
Let's give both and, get rid both, yeah.
Because we're gonna bite the
We
bullet
took-
next year.
Yeah.
I know.
We took $100,000 of the
Let me ask this,
Yes.
Okay.
If
if,
you
what difference in overall efficiencies, because cost is everything, will this leaf vacuum make for the town?
All it's gonna do is it's going to just allow one person to go out and pick up the leaves, which it's automated now.
So it's freeing up
So it
how many
frees
staff?
One.
Frees up one person.
One
But it
temporary
also
person
is
for
a
a month.
cleaner job.
Right.
It's a
Cool.
cleaner
Vacuum.
Is
job.
it cleaner?
It's a more
It's the
efficient.
same vacuum that you're using now, but it's just that you have a
dump-
joystick in the cab.
But the dump trucks are doing it now, and I'm behind
It's-
all those things, and the leaves are blowing everywhere.
It's the same unit. It's
Yeah.
just automated, that's
I
all
thought,
it
I
is.
thought the leaves get sucked into the cabin of the truck.
That's what it does now.
Not the cabin.
No, now we have.
No.
Not into the cabin.
Into the back.
Whatever the back.
You know what,
part of the
before,
truck is called.
I would really rather you, before you decide on buying the leaf vacuum,
Mhm.
I want you to see it this fall in action, either in Paramus, Englewood, or wherever, before you decide on it. the top kick, if you're gonna buy
Well,
two.
then it's not, why, the whole conversation is almost wasted if we're waiting till October.
No, but
Alright,
what
but
he's
fine.
saying, he's saying it's not
Part of
worth
the
it. It saves a person for 1 month, a temp for 1 month, so maybe $5,000. It's not a big deal.
I think this may, you know, from everything I've seen, when I went to the league, I spent a good afternoon talking to every person who had these automatic leaf
Yeah,
blowers.
but there's no leaves on the floor. We also talked to pothole fillers and we saw how well that worked.
Yeah.
Okay, but a lot of the companies had videos, they did, you know, they did things like that.
I think she's thinking about a different kind of machine, because there are
we
leaf
have a picture
pickups
of this?
that are much
Hold on.
cleaner than what we have now.
It's not
So
gonna
what
be
is
any.
this one then?
It's not gonna be any
This is
different.
not it?
He
There?
says it's the same
So-
thing now,
so
except it's
are we
one of
talking
them.
about getting both of these machines, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
One of them probably, or
I mean, my view of leaf collection and snow plowing and potholes, that's all the residents care about.
I mean, this is part of infrastructure.
It's part
It's
of the
part
structure.
of infrastructure, the infrastructure
Right.
we need to catch up and maintain,
Our
and
town.
it's,
and that's where the
It's to the
question
benefit
comes.
of everyone.
Should I take, should we
That's
take
what-
the
that's what it is.
185
That's
And that's
and
what
put
nothing
it
but your
into
existing
the,
leaf vacuums that will pull behind the
road
truck,
construction
mounted
or
permanently
not?
to a vehicle
That's
with an
exactly
automated
the
arm, that's
question.
all they are.
So when
yeah,
I
but
saw
if
leaf
you're not gonna
collection
have,
this
you're gonna have a
fall,
road, but nothing to pick up the
They would
leaves
put
or
the leaves
He
in
said
the
that that's
dump
really
truck,
not really
I
a
do it that way also.
and they
In
come
the
up and
front
over,
end
and then
load.
leaves go, half of them
We
go
already took out
onto the road to people's
100,000.
properties, and they're not
Yeah.
want to
collected
put
off
that
there, because the
100,000
trucks
onto
can't
the
go
roads.
on there, so it's
I'm
better.
okay, absolutely
You know,
we're gonna do
eventually the
that.
guys come
Yeah.
out,
No,
they,
we're
you
gonna
know,
do
they
it
do
at
a
speed.
little bit.
These two.
With speed.
But I'm saying the guys raking up, slow it down and everything else.
But this is
I don't
included
use-
in
I don't
that,
use rate.
You know,
ordinance.
So
Yeah,
Exactly.
you have it here,
Loader.
740
And
on the
Guy
bottom
out there
here.
with the rate.
Yeah, so that includes the Microsoft.
So are we
Okay.
moving forward
No,
with
the
this,
Microsoft
both
is
trucks
not-
are
The
getting?
Microsoft
I would
is
say
under
one.
750.
No,
So
750
my
is gonna
comment
be
about,
on the
you know my
co-op,
comment about
which
that
is
is?
No,
strictly.
it's co-op
We're gonna,
and
we're about to spend
Microsoft.
1.2 million on these new recycling cans,
That's
okay?
enough.
Can't clean
Which
up
for
our
the
leaks.
first hour, the
So-
residents will be
I
interested
thought
in, then they
that
won't care
Microsoft
about,
is saying
they care about
we're
leaf
gonna
pickup, they care about
repurpose
snow
all the money
plowing.
coming back.
So here's what I'm
From
gonna go around
the,
the table,
Once we
and I
have
ask you
that,
two
we
or
have
one,
another
2 trucks
people
or
who
one
want
truck?
to
I'm voting for 2.
before-
Lauren,
I'm very interested in the leaf vacuum.
it's 2 or 1, and then if we vote for one, then we'll decide which one. And I'm
Well,
not optimistic about the leaf,
I'd vote the automated leaf vacuum over the top.
so you want one.
The leaf vacuum.
You want one.
It's,
Yeah, one.
It's 2
Yeah,
or
one or the other.
First, we're gonna, if
Well,
you.
then if that's my, no, but that's a different question, because if I don't get, if the
That's
other
the question I'm
truck-
asking now.
No, but that assumes that I want the truck that you're asking, so if I want one truck, it's the leaf. If I can't get the leaf unless I get 2, then I want 2.
so you're in for 2.
You get it,
Dan?
you get it.
2.
I'd prefer to spend money on one, but I'd prefer it to be the leaf.
Well, I think the reality of it is if we go for one, it's gonna be the other one.
Yeah.
So you're ready.
So I'm in,
All right, you're in for 2. Dan?
well, you heard my vote. My vote
Jeff?
is one leaf.
Right. At this point, given the recommendations, I'm in for 1 actually.
Okay, Vanu,
For one.
Max?
One.
Which,
so-
now you have to tell which one.
No,
No, it's,
No, he gets
it's
to
3-3.
Oh.
I think at this point, because I agree with Mark, that, you know, the residents care about 3 things, the roads, the leaves, and the snow. So I'll go for the 2. I think we should go for the 2, and Lauren gets her truck, and,
Okay.
It's
you
not
know,
me, it's the residents.
You know,
Better on
the
that.
only thing, and I didn't get a chance to say this, when I was talking about the efficiencies, I don't know that this is going to make a difference in it.
It's not gonna be.
And that's really what I'm getting the sense from our expert that's not gonna make a
Right,
difference.
that's not
So
the
if we're
difference.
doing something for our residents, we want it to make a difference, not to spend money to have, say we got
Oh, I'm
something
not
that will
doing
make a
it,
difference.
I'm not doing it because of equipment.
But I'm saying that that's what I'm hearing as the recommendation, is that this is not gonna make any real
It's gonna save.
Well, I
difference
think-
for the residents, which is who we're
Well,
trying to help
I-
without costing
I think there's 2 issues here.
Mhm.
One is, Lauren is looking for something neater and cleaner.
And more
I
efficient.
don't believe we're getting that, but what I do believe is it will improve leaf pickup, because we're gonna have a new machine to go with all of the other older machines. It can't help but make leaf pickup better.
So-
But
I'm
part of it
okay.
is resourcing, not, and not the actual machines, if I understand correctly.
It's $185,000 gonna save us $10,000.
But
Dan-
I
Dan
have
and
a
then
question.
Lauren.
I would,
Dan?
It says replace here, Bob. once you order it, could it supplement, can it augment, can it be an additional leaf picker upper?
Yes.
Lauren,
As long as I have the crew,
and then
as
Jeff.
long as I have the manpower, it can
Lauren,
be an
Jeff, and
addition.
Matt.
Alright, this is a question
I'm
for
Mark.
Bob.
Whatever your name is.
We're all losing it.
Mark, you
So, alright, so, you know, I get excited about the demonstrations. When I was doing my research on this, one of the things that attracted me about the automated leaf trucks that I was looking at was that it had almost double the capacity of a top kick or a dump truck type of truck to suck the leaves in, so it could stay out longer and gather more leaves before it had to go to the dump. That was one of the things I was hoping that this machine would accomplish.
It's gonna have
Is
it's
this
gonna have a
machine
20
gonna
yard.
be able to do that?
It's gonna have a 20-yard capacity. Our trailers have 25
Because
yards.
it's not here.
Well, maybe this $185,000 machine isn't the one that we were considering.
I don't think it's the one you were looking at.
Well, that's my question, because the one I was looking at, not,
We have,
Show me what you were looking at.
I mean, I don't have it
Yeah,
here. Maybe we need
email
to
it to me.
explore it.
Just email it to me, and I'll compare
Well,
the
It was
two.
double the capacity.
So you wanna go to one and just get the top kick,
No, I.
So just
I
one.
don't.
Can I say something? I mean,
Absolutely.
Jeff has raised an
no,
excellent
from
point,
the,
so,
nature center. That's
so
what was
is this machine
300.
going to make the operation more efficient and be better for the residents, or it's just another machine we're adding to our inventory and it's nice to have?
It's a machine that's going to replace one of the tow behind vacuums that currently needs 2 people to operate. You'll
Maybe
replace
100,
that with
six.
this machine, which takes 1 person to operate.
Yeah.
You've
That's
increased
why we wanna get
the
money back now.
efficiency of leaf collection by allowing the department to work overtime towards the last 4 weeks of leaf season when leaves are the heaviest. And that seemed to make a big difference because we were able to go out and do around the schools on the weekends when the schools weren't in session. And that made the residents very happy this year. So you've budgeted enough money to allow me to do
Okay,
that.
so we've got to summarize, we've got some incremental increase in the quality, incremental only, but it's really because you're asking for it because it's a replacement of a machine that's dying.
That's on its way out.
No, that's because.
Well, we don't wanna go backwards on the leaf
Then that's,
collection.
so your point's well taken.
We have
So
to-
before, the other thing I was gonna ask,
We're going backwards.
before Max, Mark, Billy Bob,
Bob.
here,
Whatever.
my understanding is that the vacuum has not been used as much on the Upper East Hill because of the volume of leaves, so
Mhm.
that would continue to be the case?
That's correct.
So there's a whole section of town that wouldn't even see any difference from
But
this
again,
equipment.
the truck that we had explored
if
was
they're more
supposed to be
efficient
double
on the lower part
capacity.
of the town,
I
it frees
don't know
things up for the upper part.
which vacuum you speak of. I'm going to be honest with
You
you.
just won't
The
see that
brochures at
particular
home.
piece of equipment
I don't
maybe.
know.
If you
It's not
find
worth-
The one I'm interested in for efficiencies is the one with double capacity, so that it takes in a lot more leaves without having to go to the dump truck, without
I'm-
having to go to the dump to dump the leaves, and it was
Next
twice as
year.
efficient as the dump trucks. That's the
That-
one I'm interested in.
That's really not a major concern for me,
For the dump.
because we have our own facility within the borough. If I had to haul these up to Closter or out to ORI up by
Mhm.
Lowe's in Orangetown, yeah, I'd want something a lot bigger that's gonna hold a lot more leaves, because that would make it more efficient.
Mhm.
Having your own site in town to dump is as efficient as you can
So
get.
Lauren,
Well, but then you'd stop the process, have to go to the dump, come back.
so Lauren.
Hold
this
on,
is
hold
Stay
on,
out.
Max.
Max,
I
excuse
was,
me,
yeah,
Max,
but give me a second. Yeah, and I was of the same opinion with you, but we're gonna use this truck since it's specialized 2 months a year.
Mhm.
And we're gonna say, and what we're gonna save is a temp that we get for 2 months. If it was a journal truck that you use it more than that, I would have been 100%. But since it's not, it's becoming so narrow focus that I'm not so sure anymore
I
if
wanna
we're gonna
respond.
spend the money.
And then, I'm sorry, let me just respond really quickly. For 2 months of the year, we had residents calling Borough Hall with safety conditions on the road, with, the town looking like it
Yeah.
wasn't maintained or cleaned
Even
well.
then, it's not worth it.
We had overtime, we had temp workers, we had all the things we have in place. If we do not address this
The trucks
problem,
were not
it will
used.
escalate.
Right.
The
The
public,
trucks were
our
not used.
residents we're dissatisfied with the way this borough ran that leaf collection.
But the
We are
trucks
looking-
were not the reason. Is
The
it?
trucks are part of the
No,
reason, the
but
trucks were
but
not
Bob says
clean.
it was not the reason.
The vacuum cleaner
Yeah.
hand makes a cleaner pickup. It does.
Dan?
So, to both your points, let's say this leaf loader, replacement loader, replace this 1991 leaf loader, dies,
Right.
breaks, we're SOL.
Yes. So,
we
we
need
don't
to
wanna go
replace it.
backwards.
So you
We're gonna
can-
replace it eventually anyway,
Yeah, eventually you're gonna replace
It's
one.
1992, it's a
1991.
Look, we had a vote, it's 3-3, Peter has voted to get a truck,
Should we move on?
let's move on.
Move on, okay.
So, two
I don't
trucks.
think that we have a choice
Yeah,
anymore,
Alright, so we
184.
got both.
Okay.
that's what it is. Let's go to the next thing.
Parks Department.
16,000.
Can we get a different, we just need a Toro, you have 7 trailers, okay, those that you can put this on
Yeah,
this
this one.
15,000.
Replace parks.
Oh,
The place parks equipment
the
stuff.
last line
You-
item in
This is a
parks and
trailer,
No, it's not a trailer.
yeah, that's
It's a
what you
trailer
said,
and
it's a
mower.
trailer
It's
and
both.
Toro,
It's a
Toro mower.
combination.
That's what you said in your description.
Yeah, just give me the mower, I'm fine with the mower.
Yeah, how much is the mower?
I'll go back for it.
14.9.
I think it-
You out of here.
The trailer's nothing, the
Yeah,
mower's
so
15.
how much is the mower?
I think it was just 15. I have to go back and look at my backup material. I'll let you know.
Okay, all right.
Sewer repair on Piermont Road.
All right, now it's I guess surfacing, yes.
Well, that's
What's
NJDOT.
recommended for that one?
NJDOT, that's what, that's, you have to put that.
625, NJDOT.
So that's the other
Oh,
side of the grant
I
we're
thought
getting?
it was the,
Mm-hmm.
Is that the other side of the
That-
grant?
Well, we have
No,
to
it's
appropriate the
zero.
full amount,
Appropriate
so
zero.
the grant is half.
I was
Right,
just,
okay.
And the grant is actually full.
Jeff, I
So
was
is
reading
the,
wrong line.
is the grant under our, revenue?
No, we
No,
haven't gotten the
not this
award
is
yet.
that- this
Okay.
is
We haven't-
match.
So we're not,
This-
that's,
it
we're not
could be-
gonna
it's not in our
book
revenue.
that until we actually receive it.
We have,
You never put this in.
Woodland.
no, we have to,
And this is the
We-
grant for Piermont?
no, Piermont was done last year.
Oh,
So,
right.
yeah, once Piermont is done and the project's closed out, all the paperwork goes in, then it's just a matter of waiting for the state to reimburse us
Okay.
the amount.
No.
So this is
Yeah.
just part of our, this 625 plus the
Which is what we
750 is
need.
part of our road program?
Yes.
Okay, so this 200,000, which you didn't recommend
Is
for the
zero.
sewer repair, what is the sewer repair? Is this something we're gonna do after we pay Piermont?
That's
Exactly.
We can do it after when we televised Piermont Road in preparation for its milling and paving, yes, the sewer line. We found one location that actually needed to be repaired right away. Videotaping the entire length, the whole sewer line is out of whack. So, in lieu of ripping the whole thing up and replacing it, which would cost you millions, for 200,000, we can pull a liner through
I put a liner through there.
and be
So
done
it
with it.
We don't have to break ground.
No.
Good.
We're gonna do that next year.
But we're not doing that.
Yeah,
We're
we're
gonna
doing
do it
it
next
for
year.
next
No,
year.
I'm just asking that question so
Just
that
in case we need
after
to
we
check
spend
it
$1
out.
million repaving Piermont.
You
we're
don't
not ripping it
destroy
up
it,
again.
that's right.
No,
Well,
I'm
hold
I'm
on.
not public
Hold on.
service.
So hold on,
Yeah.
we're talking about doing it next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
Is there, so there's no threat that because we didn't do it this year,
No.
something collapses and
What
then we
we- no.
dig up the street?
No, what we saw in the videotape was repaired.
Okay.
The issue that would have caused a problem has been rectified.
Oh, good.
We're all right, we're ready to pave.
How deep are the sewers in Piermont?
They're like 10 foot, but we have running sand in that location, so it's very, very difficult to excavate. Very difficult.
Because it's just all collapses in constantly.
Yeah, it's constant water flowing on the high water table.
How
And
big is the sewer line there?
It's 8 inch.
And this is storm sewer or
Sanitary.
Sanitary.
Don't mess with that.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay, the next item
Otherwise
is
you're
the
SOL.
culvert inspection and repairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No.
No.
Exterior doors, by the way, folks, just in case there's no confusion here, it's not these two wooden doors. It's the doors
Outside.
inside the wooden doors. There's one here, and there's one on the other side. You can go
Like
in and out a
outside.
million times and never even notice them. But those are the doors we're talking about. They're emergency exits.
It's just that it's an outrageous amount
Well, it
of
is a
money.
ridiculous.
Aren't they glass doors?
It's glass, it's just, they're
Metal
called
frames.
storefronts. It's made like a metal storefront, so everything's custom made.
How did we get to the $16,000 number?
That was the quote.
From
We had,
who?
Shaw's Lock come in and give us a quote.
Just the one person quoted that?
Just for budgetary purposes.
That seems like a lot, I mean.
A ton of money.
Yeah.
Not
Only because I had a
it's not a
retail
lot, it's
store
a
and
ton of money.
I replaced store, I mean, I'm not complaining.
Which store do we talk?
I would hope we get,
Show 'em.
Just four.
Go on a field trip.
Four?
No, we lost a quorum.
Oh, good.
Next.
The meeting is canceled.
Max, I wanna whisper in your ear.
everybody wants to see the
Come over
doors.
here.
Well, what,
I
even
don't
though there
care.
were
Don't replace it.
emergency exit doors, before, when employees smoke them, if they got them, they would prop that and use it.
Is that what they?
That was a recommendation from the fire inspector also, that they,
That we what?
the fire official,
That they be what?
replaced. Because they're rotting.
Are they crash doors?
Yeah,
How could glass rot?
it's not glass, it's the aluminum, it's the metal portion of it.
And then if you have
And it's
court
steel.
going on and somebody,
How old is this building? How old is this?
Oh, this building's old.
How long has that door been there?
45 years.
Longer than any of us.
As long as Borough Home has been here.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right, now we know which door.
But then there's another one on the other side.
Yeah, now.
Now, is that worth 13,000? Or
16.
16,000?
Well, let's see if we can get another couple lots.
get,
It's
Get another door?
incredible that
First of all,
a
can
$8,000 a door.
guys, just
Let
let
it-
it go. Let it go. Let it go.
So,
Eventually, if
Next
it
year.
rots away, then we'll have to do it, but
That's right.
in the meantime, just let it go.
Let it go.
Out.
Wait, out, not in?
Out.
We're not gonna get another quote?
No, no, we're gonna
With
just
a
take
little
it
bit of
out.
luck, those doors won't be opened in 2019.
Hold on a second, because I thought those failed fire inspection.
It was recommended by the
Get
fire
it.
official.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, I don't wanna not be in a code that we're going to get in trouble, can someone just follow up on that?
Yeah.
I'll follow up on
I
it.
just followed up and I said it's okay.
Listen, if the fire marshal's gonna condemn the whole building for doors,
Come on, we're so close, guys,
Yeah,
let's
we're
keep
close.
We're
moving.
almost done.
Not really, well, if it's in, but it's
HVAC
still
controls, what's this
Well,
about?
you have to,
yes.
Oh, the HVAC controls.
That's what we said, we're gonna put control so people
Right.
can adjust, so we don't get hues every time that.
Then that's not gonna eliminate hues, Max.
It will half the cut.
It's like saying, I'm gonna put new tires on my car even though it needs a new engine, and it should be all right. And that's all you're doing.
Well, why are we doing it?
Well, because you're gonna regulate temperatures.
But we had
so you don't have the heaters running in the summer and the air conditioning in
So
the
you,
winter.
yeah, so we what we wanna eliminate is all the windows open in December.
And,
It's 80
but
degrees in there.
we had.
Well, in that case, will it lower our
It's
heating
gonna, yeah,
and
it's
air
gonna,
conditioning costs?
yeah, it's gonna reduce your fuel consumption.
Peter,
It's all about controlling the temperature, it's not gonna stop any repairs or maintenance.
That's
Any
correct.
equipment.
See, Susan and I went through every bills that Hughes had. Half of them are people calling in is too hot, people calling in is too
That
cold.
bill it would eliminate.
And those
That
are,
would elim- that
and
will
believe it or
eliminate.
not, you know, that's another 25,000.
That will eliminate, I.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Next,
No,
the
that-
split unit for the,
Lizette
Zero.
recommended no on that one.
right, zero.
All right.
You only have one.
Oh,
Future
how come
bond.
those are the recommendations we agree on?
Those we agree on.
Everything
You're
that,
right
For
again,
that, we
Lizette.
trust her completely, right?
It's fitty.
On the server room?
The security glass.
this is
door.
ridiculous.
That's out.
Who put a security glass over
Well, she
there?
recommended not to do it.
I know, but
It was
who could?
initially because we had a lot of disturbed people
Yeah.
that would come and take their frustrations out.
Anytime I come in here,
They come in and complain about the leaf pickup.
that's right.
And we're completely open, and there have been news stories. People, I think it was Lakewood. Somebody just went into Borough Hall and stabbed a cop or something.
I'm for the security glass.
So do you want it
Oh,
there?
no.
Why did you say no?
Because looking at all the other needs,
I get
you
confused.
know, there are other needs that we have
You
to
you
meet.
want listen.
Okay, it's
you want to
out.
have
Seeing
a
how
It's out.
open.
maybe next
you know,
year or
Hey,
the year after,
You know,
it's something
I would
that will
like to
come
suggest
eventually.
that we don't spend a half hour talking about something we've
That's
agreed
all.
we're not doing.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Are we
accurate.
finished with the capital?
No,
Police.
you have to do the
Police.
other
No,
departments.
wait, I'm still on DPW, hold on a second, because,
Police.
don't kill me, everybody.
Yeah.
I would like to propose adding $4,000 for picnic tables, benches,
Agreed.
and some things in the parks and playgrounds around town. I would like to make better community spaces. We could do 3,000, we could do 2,000, but I'd
No,
like some
but-
additional up-to-date picnic tables. Our picnic tables are in
So what
good
does
shape.
$4,000 get us a picnic table?
They're about 600 to 800 each, I think.
So it gets
I
us
don't know
about
what you're looking at.
8
They
tables.
go-
Where should we put
Eight.
them?
I like Roosevelt, Froggy, Walnut, Sunnyside.
Yeah,
I am
Is that
for
all our
that.
4 playgrounds?
I'm agreeing with
That's
that.
4 tables.
There's parents that are coming with small children, they have nowhere to put
Yeah,
their stuff.
I agree.
They have
Can
nowhere
we-
to put anything.
I'm
Can
for
we
it.
get tables that, don't require a lot of maintenance and weather?
Plastic.
Plastic or metal, what would you?
I would go with the metal that has, that's dipped in the rubberized.
So Russ,
Yeah.
so
Plastic tops with metal frame.
Mesh top.
You-
No,
Uline-
don't do
Uline-
mesh up. Those are so difficult to use.
Little Tikes had them, Uline
Well,
had them.
we're gonna add a $4,000 budget, and we
Yeah.
can argue over style later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
4,000.
Add
You pick the
4,000.
ones that you tell me
Yeah.
what you want me to order.
So then
Exactly,
parks and
4,000.
fields.
As that's.
Yeah, parks and fields and
And
tables.
updated garbage can in that budget as well. They don't, we don't have to add to it, but just
So it's
Okay.
garbage
4,000.
cans in the playgrounds, right.
Wait,
Alright.
is that going in?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't
We
know,
all
what has to
agreed.
say.
Police, let's go, police.
4,000's it.
Police.
We're not
Wait,
gonna wait for the
hold
chief
on,
on that?
wait a minute.
Hold it,
No.
time out.
Hold on.
He ain't here.
The 4,000 is for tables, what's this about garbage?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I mean,
what I
I'm
was
doing
just saying.
an overall view, tables, benches, garbage cans, that's it.
So
Under
you're
that,
gonna-
under
So
that
that's
door.
in.
Then you're
the-
gonna end up with two.
No.
You're gonna end up with 2 benches and.
And
2
then
or
we'll
3
do another one
cans.
next year.
Yeah,
if
I'm
it's
just
not
letting you know.
necessary.
I don't know what
We'll do what we
you know,
can
some of
for
these
the
things are like
corporation.
$100 each or
Garbage cans are
$200
not
each.
capital,
There's-
cause they
Yeah, the
don't,
garbage
they really
cans.
don't
No.
have a 5-year
Yeah.
shelf life. And anything that's in capital, the
5-year
minimum
useful life.
lifespan
I
is
think
5 years.
you were in the right direction, $4,000 for tables.
tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Benches, fine.
Done.
Take it out.
Well,
Fine, go.
And we can do benches next year because it's important to have people sitting somewhere in the parks. They're over there with the kids,
But
they
no,
have.
this is for benches and picnic tables.
Folks, I'd like to get to police because it's at 11 o'clock.
Chief, come in.
Why are we doing the police
Can we
without
wait
the
for the
police?
police chief?
Because he's not here.
So we'll do the capital, police capital on
On
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock, right?
And what about anybody else?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening.